Bada bing, bada boom. Hope you're doing well in the room. Welcome back to the Random Show episode number 28. Episode number 28 of the Random Show. Hope you are well wherever this bloody thing shall be finding you. What is wrong with this thing? Why can't I see the chat box? Can you let me see the chat box, you absolute cretin? What is wrong with this thing? Okay, let's move you in here. Hope this works. There we go. Nice and loose. Hello, everybody. Hope you are well wherever you are. Hope you are good, feeling fine. Hope you are well. Hope you are well. Hope you are well. What's the chat saying? What's everyone saying? How's vibes? How's things? Please do let me know. Please do let me know. Oh, actually, I've got the screen already showing, so I've already kind of started the show without starting the show. But let me just take this off, and then we're gonna appear and talk to this as we go on throughout the entirety of the show. But let everyone join, come involved, get started, feel the vibe. I'm drinking a nice little green juice, and I'm trying my best to somehow keep myself interested in this absolute pile of doo doo that's occurring with all these people. Man, it's absolutely annoying. I'm not gonna lie. So, first things first, just to kind of get this out of the way. I feel like I have to be upfront with this stuff, especially considering the latest developments that have been happening with Bobby Lee, Khalyla going on H3 podcast and telling Ethan Klein and his missus about what's going on with him and the Comedy Store. Let me just be honest and be straight up about this. I'm feeling like I'm starting to really, really not care, and it's starting to really annoy me that I'm caring. Do you know what I mean? It feels like I'm wasting my time listening to this nonsense because it just feels like everybody involved in this story is a complete huge piece of steaming dog crap. If you really look into it, if you don't look into it and you're just looking for it from the outside in, everyone can kind of point out who the bad guy is, and it's obviously Brendan. But if you really get down to the nitty gritty of the issue, and even look at the host of H3, which I'm not really a fan of, Ethan Klein, I've always thought is a bit of a weapon. And then you look at, Bobby Lee's past, and you look at what Khalyla has been up to in terms of the relationship with Bobby and his kind of bouts of slipping in and out of sobriety, and whether or not that was caused by some of the issues going on in the relationship. I don't know. I don't care. It's not my business. But all of that added to what's going on with Brendan as an external thing, it's just really hard to root for anyone in this story. It's really hard to sit there and say, hey, I would like this person to get some sort of comeuppance, this person to get buried, this person to do. It's hard to really think like that, honestly, as a grown up, because we've all seen these situations play out in our own lives. We know people who have been cheated on. We know people who have done crazy things to people, in the name of love, and crappy people exist out there in the world, and sometimes you just got to let them do what crappy people do and let them exist. It's not really for us to try to litigate in any sort of meaningful way. And if anything, also, I think if we really think about it, right, if we really, really, really do think about it, what is really going to change at the end of this? What really is going to change? What is really going to how we're not going to affect anything, like nothing good going to come of this, like most likely if this continues going on, most likely they'll end up breaking up in it, right? One of the two couples, maybe both, which is not going to be a good thing for anybody included. One, most likely Brendan will just like, Brendan will end up being like water for ducks back and continue doing what he does best. Most likely Bobby Lee and Khalyla will end up doing what they do best. Like nothing really good or interesting or no, even like life changing maybe for us as viewers will really happen. Nothing is going to happen. Zero. So for those people out there wishing or hoping that Brendan gets cancelled off the back of this, it's not happening. He's been grandfathered in by the male Oprah and Joe Rogan, who I'm a fan of, but let's be real, Joe Rogan's a big deal. If he rubber stamps you, you're basically guaranteed, especially if you've got a good work ethic and work ethnic actually, as Brendan would say, you're definitely guaranteed a career. You're basically set for life. So that's not going anywhere. If Brian Callen can survive a rape allegation, Brendan can survive a bit of, what do you call it, an extramarital affair here or there. What else is going to happen? I can think of what scenario people are looking for, that he gets ousted or somehow excommunicated by the LA comedy scene. Not happening either, because like I said, he got grandfathered in by Joe Rogan. So, and I'm assuming in LA too, even though we don't think he's a big deal, he's probably a big deal in that little scene there. So that's not going to change. What else people want to see change? The podcast implodes. Not happening. right? It makes money, makes bucket loads of cash. They got ads coming out of their ass, even though they do a horrible job at it. It's not going to change anything. What do people want? Maybe people want to see maybe the Mexican leave, Brendan. That's not happening either. If you know anything about, you know, people from that kind of part of the country, they take the way they view relationships is completely different to how we may view them as somewhat European, Western, Western Hemisphere type people. Then she's not leaving under any circumstance unless maybe he goes out and impregnates somebody else. And even then, I wouldn't say that's guaranteed. So that's not going to happen. She's not going anywhere. What else? Joe Rogan excommunicating him, not happening either. The Joe Rogan thing, I've long hypothesized that most likely Joe probably felt really guilty about convincing Brendan to basically quit the UFC, right? He's one thing that he kind of finally became pro in terms of athletic sports or professional sports, sorry. And he probably felt as if that podcast was maybe a bit too harsh. He probably regretted saying that on air. And I felt like myself, my own little theory was that Joe kind of made a little promise to himself that he'd do everything in his power to make sure Brendan landed on his feet. And the way he did that was obviously having him on the show, giving him a platform, and then mixed with Brendan's work ethic, ethnic at the beginning, and obviously having a good show with Friday the Kid when it first started, and the kind of bond they had with Brendan, they went from from strength to strength. So I don't see Joe ditching Brendan anytime soon, because that legitimately is kind of like his pet project that he was able to kind of help get on his feet after he felt like he messed up. So that's not going to happen. So all these scenarios that people are wishing for aren't going to happen. So maybe we're just doing this for some sort of morbid, kind of entertainment. And I know I am getting some entertainment from it, but I got to be honest, man, when I was listening and watching the live stream, live when it was happening, it was just making me so sad. It was bumming me out because, like, it's just a whole bunch of bullshit happening to people in real time that we don't have any effect on, that most likely is going to end in tears, and we're all kind of watching it with popcorn. You know what I mean? Smiling and hoping something really fucks up happens. It's really awful. And now also, I just saw a clip of flipping Brendan on his show, the Schaub show, the MMA show he's got, and he clearly looks wasted, like he's been up all night drinking beers, like. And here we are, reveling in people's misery. It's absolutely mad, isn't it? And then the other side of me also is like, it also makes you have this weird, you get this weird, I wouldn't say resentment. It's not even resentment. What's it kind of feeling? I think if you watch this stuff too much, right, it's similar to like watching, Dark Side Phil and Wings of Redemption, all those kind of locals guys like Boogie, whatever his name is, right, and the other black dude, I forgot his name, right, Low to God. When you watch their content too much, you can sometimes get, is it resentment? Maybe it's resentment. Maybe it's just, I don't know what it is. It's a feeling that you're like, how is it possible that somebody so reprehensible, someone so unlikable, is able to make such a great career for themselves, creating content online, when they're clearly a bad person, right? They have real bad intent, or they're kind of manipulating their audience, whatever you may think about people, whatever you kind of judge them, how you review them. And it can maybe sometimes maybe help, it can maybe make you question humanity. But unfortunately, we have to kind of exist in the world as it is, as opposed to trying to exist in the world of our kind of of our imagination, of our hope. And there are monsters and awful people out there doing pretty well for themselves. It's just a fact of life. It just is what it is. Some people don't get the comeuppance that you think they should be getting. Some people are able, like, DSP is a good example, flipping 14 years content creation, as he keeps banging on about, and he's been begging the entire time, making 100K plus per year. And you could say, yeah, his life is somewhat, maybe sad because he's a shut-in and because he begs for tips and whatnot. Yeah, whatever. But if you watch his content too much and you see how much of a garbage human being he is, yet he has all these, you would say, trappings of somewhat of a successful life, it can sometimes bum you out and put you in a bit of a funk that's kind of hard to get out of. And then you end up watching him for what? Hoping that it all crashes so that you can have a better life yourself. Do you know what I mean? It gets a bit weird. It gets into a weird territory. But maybe I'm overthinking things, and I'm just, I've been spending too much time fasting and drinking green juices. I don't know, but I was watching that live stream with on H3 podcast, thinking this is just awful people after awful people, just a cesspool of crap. I mean, that LA scene is just awful. These are grown adults, some of them are children and shit. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here? What water, weed, dune here? Honestly, that this is something that's happening in real time and somehow being excused because you're friends with, it's just like, oh yeah, yeah, it's like but anyway, enough of that. No one cares. No one cares. At the end of the day, we're still gonna run through these clips. We're still gonna run up these views. We're still gonna get the likes. I feel like such a flipping drama whore. I swear to God, I feel awful. But hey, sometimes you have to sell your soul if you want to allow yourself to go. Because what am I doing this for? I'm doing these streams so I can, fund myself to my flipping trip to Berlin to go to the Berghain and dance to flipping techno music in the really dark, dingy club in the middle of flipping Kreuzberg or whatnot. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm basically doing this for. So, it is what it is. Then, I'll get some content out of it. I'll have a good time. It'll be some fun people. But whatever, man. F it. Whatever, innit? F it. Let's just get on in it. Quickly want to make a point on top of that, right? So check out my girl Jess, right? Check out my sis Jess video. I thought she made a really great point. We're gonna watch the whole thing, but I thought this point regarding female comedians in the scene really made me think about why this is such an awful thing overall. Forget the Brendan thing, just in terms of the women in comedy, and it also made me think that I made some points in the beginning of the whole pandemic when it was going down with Chris D'Elia and Brian Callen that I kind of regret. I made some kind of scathing points regarding Whitney Cummings and how she didn't really stand up for those guys and stuff. But looking back on it and seeing what's basically transpired in real time, I kind of get why she basically was, she basically did a Switzerland or just refused to comment or, basically removed those people from their lives and hasn't really been looking back ever since. Because just imagine how difficult it must be to navigate that scene as a woman, especially if you're like somewhat attractive. Forget being like Khalyla attractive. Just imagine you're just like let's say like you're like a general four. A general four. You have a nice personality, but it's a general four. Imagine how difficult it is to navigate the landmine of creeps coming out of you at every flipping corner, and you're just trying to get up and do some minutes. But yeah, listen to this point Jess makes. I think this is a really great point, and definitely check out her video in full here. It's on her channel. Check it out. But yeah, I think this point was really interesting.
These male comedians push women. They conquest them and they push them around and put the women in awkward positions that now women, instead of concentrating on writing jokes or doing their thing, now they have this stuff in the back of their head that they have to manage because of what these dudes do that they don't want any part of.
And I think that is so true. It's all these things you're having to, because as part of me, when I was watching that H3 podcast, I was like, I wouldn't say I was blaming like Khalyla, but there was a bit of me was like, you kind of got him into this mess. But then in the other sense as well, I'm like, imagine how many unwanted sort of what that thing called unwanted interactions that she's had with guys where she's had to like swat them away. Some of them she probably haven't even mentioned to him because she doesn't want to obviously to Bobby Lee, because she doesn't want him to get into his head or it to affect the comedy or it to affect the relationship into the scene. It's weird things that you're having to do on your own just to kind of stay alive. And this is somebody that isn't a comedian. So imagine if you're a comedian, you're trying to get on shows, you're trying to get on lineups, you're trying to get past in certain places, you're just trying to get minutes in general, and you're having to navigate this weird thing where you want something from somebody, they have the power and authority to say yes or no. So they like king and queen makers, isn't it? The people that book shows, it's basically they decide where your career goes. And if you're wrapped up in that scene, it can feel like that's the whole world, even though it's not the whole world. But it can feel like if you don't make it there, you're not going to make it anywhere. So they really heighten you. You're kind of nervous. You're all over the place. Imagine if you already suffer from anxiety, you've got self-confidence issues, blah 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 blah, and then you've got this creepy leer, this cloud hanging over you where you think to yourself, if I do indulge in one of these favorable acts, right, where I kind of maybe use my femininity, my looks or something to kind of gain a foothold or a door or to give me a chance to get in, I can't ever turn that off. That's probably the issue, right? You can't ever turn that faucet off. The moment you allow somebody to kind of see you as, just, a hot person or somebody they can get sexual favors from, it's very difficult to turn that thing on and off. And I'd imagine also as an artist or as a creative, you don't want to be getting anywhere in your career knowing in the back of your head that you only got there because of that thing that you did in the background. It's just, it's just so unnecessary. And I think that for me is probably the most unfair part of the whole thing. It's the unnecessary stress it puts on the female. And I think I've even noticed it myself, especially when it comes to going out in the scene. Especially, I've noticed a kind of shift in the way that I kind of go about things and how I interact with going outdoors and whatnot. And I think most of it has come from because, especially when I go out clubbing and stuff, I'm mostly there to see DJs and to go to see cool clubs and to experience a space. And I legitimately enjoy being around people. Like, even though I'm a loner, I like to be around people in the clubs and whatnot. And I see how important it is to like, I see how important it is to be like, to just be cool and create a safe space. Do you know what I mean? Just to make everybody feel at ease so they can bring their best self, whatever space that they kind of interact with and are part of. I don't know. I can only imagine, honestly, just think about what it's like to be a female 4 in LA, right? And no, forget it. Let's say in LA 4, because the female 4 is weird. Just say in LA 4 in general, right? Which is still very high in terms of looks overall, right? And you are somewhat funny. So that means you've got probably a cheerful, approachable kind of personality. You're warm, you're bubbly. So maybe people get the wrong impression, think you like them, whatever it may be. Just imagine how difficult it must be to navigate. Oh my God. You're trying to book shows, you're trying to do stuff, and people are just trying to get in at you. You make it clear that you've got a boyfriend, you've got a husband, you're not interested, and they just keep coming. And then you're also not sure what to do because that person's linked with Joe, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's just jump straight into it. This is the first clip. I'm just going to play the clips. I'm not going to play the whole show because, the whole show is long. But this is a clip courtesy of let me get back on the screen, actually. So this is a clip courtesy of the H3 Podcast Highlights channel. It's there, you see it on the screen. The title is Bobby Lee and Khalyla opens up about Brendan Schaub's bullying. So they're putting it in the title. They're not even shying away from it, right? They're putting it right there, front and center in the title, right? That my man is out here bullying people because he thinks that he deserves that. This is what it is, because he thinks that he deserves their girl more than they do. Imagine the flipping ego. The I don't know. I don't know what else you can describe it, to think that you deserve somebody more than the other person. Like, it's a conquest. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're back in the flipping 1800s. You're gonna ride through in your horse and just take someone's wife and fling her over your shoulder and ride away. What? Oh, honestly, absolutely mad. But yeah, let's play the video and see what they're saying, and we're gonna go over it. I guess we can go through the whole thing. Maybe you might do bits and pieces. I've got a few clips to kind of run through here anyway in general. So maybe we can do a few of them, but let's just run through the first.
Wait, we can't talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
If you...
No,
I would love to.
Talk about what?
Why don't you want to talk about Brendan Schaub? But you're down.
No. So, Brendan Schaub?
Well, here's what I'll say about
Brendan Schwab.
Schwab?
Schwab.
Oh, Brendan Schwab,
Yeah,
the
Brendan
insurance
Schwab.
salesman. Yeah. Oh, I can talk about it. Yeah.
I call him a Schwab because he looks like a Schwab. You know, like, don't they call those Schwabs in the ear?
Yeah.
Swab.
Okay.
You gently do it, but this is on you. This is on you.
Okay, so Brendan.
Here's what I
This
say.
is on you, and that's it.
He's a comedian that you have a podcast with two other very funny ladies called Trash Tuesday.
Right, with Esther Povitsky and Annie Leonard. Yeah.
Great show.
Thank you.
Love all three of you guys.
My heart's beating because I want to be delicate about this.
100%.
Okay, yes.
You tread lightly.
I will tread lightly.
So you guys were doing a show, and you said that someone you guys knew was trying to pick.
Hold on.
You don't want to
Ethan
even say.
finish. This is just.
Well, just correct me where I'm wrong.
We don't need to stress you guys out.
It's going to distress him because. Okay, go ahead, Ethan.
You okay, Bobby?
Yeah.
So you guys said.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not even funny because he legitimately can see his career flashing before his eyes. And as somebody who's been a somewhat infrequent fan of Bad Friends and Tiger Belly, I know Bobby really cares about stand-up. Like, he's obsessed with stand-up. He might not write a lot of new material. He might be a little bit annoying in terms of not filming a special. But when it comes to being a stand-up comedian, he loves it. He loves being a part of that community. He loves going to do spots. He loves to tour. He loves to meet his fans, get on stage, do silly things, fuck around. This is something that he legitimately has, gained a lot from, right? Being a stand-up comedian. And he can legitimately see that being on this show is going to probably cause him way more pain than anything he's ever done in his entire life. But it's also a very, very necessary conversation to have. It needs to be had. This stuff needs to be put out there in public. So as much as he's probably thinking, hey, I hate this woman for bringing this up, it needs to be said because, you know, the stuff that's being alleged in here is just insane.
Yeah.
This guy, Brendan Schwab, you alluded to it. You said his initials was BS. Everybody now knows it's him, right?
Well, the first time that we had talked, it was a story about someone who had hit on me 7 years ago. It was a story about but we never said his name during the first show.
You guys were together 7 years ago?
Yes, we've been together 9.
Okay, Playboy. Pound it for that fucking tricolored cock, but man.
When is your 10-year anniversary?
Next year.
Okay. 'Cause ours is coming up. I was like, oh, maybe
In
we're
June, 10 years,
in
married.
October.
Oh, October, wrong month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Anyway,
Tread lightly.
With no intention other than to just tell a story about
Funny
something
story.
that happened. Yeah.
interesting.
Just to get a good laugh, something that I thought might
So
be
7 years
relatable.
ago, he tried to pick you up, this comedian.
I told the
comedian.
story on Trash Tuesday, which is like,
He tried to, and the story was interesting. He brought you to the car and tried to get a blowy or something?
No, that's not me. That
was one of the other girls.
Annie, yeah, and
Because that's such an interesting way to pick up a girl, I think. To be like, yo, you want to come to my car and suck my cock?
by the way, I should preface this by saying I had a phone call with him. All is squared away and fine.
Okay.
But he did promise. We promised that this would never be brought up again. But then he went on Flagrant 2 and talked about it. So I was like, all right, deal's off. I'm going to talk about it on H2.
Deals off.
Yeah. So, but I'll be delicate about it because I do think that, I don't want to be an asshole to anybody. Yeah.
Right.
But
Are you friends with him? Is that the problem? Are you friends
Oh my
with Brendan?
you're acquaintances.
Yeah. I'm friends with him.
Do you think he's a funny comedian? Because a lot of
I
people.
think he's great.
Okay.
I think he's wonderful. I do. I think
Yeah,
he's
he's a good
dynamic.
guy.
I really do.
Dynamic.
You know, can I say something about him? All right. I want to say this. All right. I want to say that.
He tried to fuck your girl,
No,
dude.
I get down there. Woo!
Okay.
All right. So
She's short.
yeah.
wild,
I like to say this about the man. All right. You know, it's very difficult to go from one profession to another, right? So he was an
UFC,
MMA fighter, right? And
really successful fighter,
very
right?
successful.
What was his professional record?
It's not the record that counts. It's what you do in the ring. You know what I mean? It's commitment.
Right.
Right.
Mate, it takes balls to get in the ring.
Yeah, it does take balls.
Can you guys
and
pull
you're
his
risking-
professional record?
What does it matter?
I'm curious.
yeah. So,
Sorry. Damn. Ignore me. Sorry about that. Let's go again. This man on the screen has done nothing wrong. Zero. Nothing wrong. And look how miserable, right? And worried he looks about his career because another male comedian had the audacity to try to slide in his wife, basically, DMs. Knowing full well they were together. Just imagine the absurdity of the entire thing. How insane is that? Oh my God. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really do not understand. It makes no sense whatsoever. Like, oh, May, I don't know. I don't get it. Can you guys hear me now? I think you can hear me now. Hopefully you can. But that was mad. I was ranting for a bit there for a second, and then no sound as per usual because Agostino streams are always filled with the most crazy tech issues.
Anyway, so he, and he goes into a very difficult medium, which is stand-up comedy. It's clicky. It's
very difficult.
Right.
It's very difficult, and he carves his way out. And he does a couple of specials. He's a successful podcaster, and my hat's off to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very okay. Good. I mean, nice
Hats
things.
off to him. Yeah.
All good vibes.
We've talked, and everything's under the rug, and everything's fine, and yeah.
Although I would like to clarify. This is not.
Well, you didn't
true.
finish your. Well, Bobby has some nice things to say. So I
Right.
mean, you're in the middle of your story.
Well, my problem with the whole thing was when he had a problem with me, he went through Bobby. Bobby was a filter, and I thought that was really not appropriate.
He wouldn't
because-
talk to you.
No.
What is this? You're doing a toothpick?
It's a nicotine toothpick. I'm stressed out.
Are you serious?
We're fucked.
We're not fucked.
Yeah,
Wait, why are you
we're fucked?
fucked?
We're
So
fucked.
what
We're
did I
fucked.
say?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
so afraid of being bullied.
Why are you so afraid?
Because this is the problem. To his defense, when
This is good.
when Schaub had a problem with me never even saying his name, and by the way, I neither confirm or deny that's to this day that story was about him.
All right, Khalyla, come on, cut the bullshit. We know it was him. BS isn't gonna be flipping. Who they say it's not gonna be fucking Bob Saget, is it? Like, let's be for real. And we all know why the guy's scared. Like, it makes sense why he's scared. In essentially everything people have been saying online, especially shout out to the homeless cats, they've always been saying that Joe Rogan has an oversized influence on that comedy scene overall over there. No, probably not so much now because he's moved away, and it feels like since Joe's gone to Austin, he's completely cut himself off from everybody associated with the LA scene. But it's pretty clear that that whole entire group of people within that Joe Rogan, JRE extended universe, they've got a real stranglehold on the clubs and the bookings and the mood and the scene, whatever it may be over there. They've got a real stranglehold on it. There's no denying it. So it's only natural that somebody like Bobby Lee, who's not the most confrontational, alpha-y, I'm going to fuck you up if you chat shit to me kind of guy, is going to be worried and nervous when he's in a situation that could maybe blackball him. Especially when I said in the beginning that Bobby clearly cares about stand-up. He's a flipping, he loves it. He loves being a comedian. Everything that it kind of brought him in his life has only been positive. So clearly he's going to be worried that they're going to absolutely destroy his career off the back of the gossipy section of a show that isn't considering his career at all. This is just something I want to get my feelings out without thinking about the long-term repercussions, as Brendan would say, of the situation. So I can completely understand why he's flipping nervous about it. It makes complete sense. This is not him being a pussy. This is just clearly him worried that the powers that be who control that whole industry will see this and not look favorably on him, and then he'll be out on his ass without booking shows again, which obviously he clearly loves.
Well, you guys said his initials was BS.
And then Annie said it was Bob Saget on the live show.
Well, and then no,
Bob Saget BS.
No, one of the things that really gave it away is that you guys said that he's not very funny as a comedian. And then you guys all started laughing.
That's subjective.
No, but I know that's like a meme about him. I know you think he's funny.
Yeah.
But there's like a meme that everyone's like,
he's the George Carlin of
he's not funny.
That doesn't
He's not funny.
mean that they necessarily said that it's him.
So I actually, to this day,
You never
I
said his name.
I never said.
Yeah.
It was assumed. I didn't think that it would escalate in the way that it did. I also didn't realize that Bobby would take the brunt of the punishment because nothing,
He didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
Right.
And here's my problem with just even this in general, okay? And since we're already talking about it, fuck it, right? But what I'm saying to you is that I have nothing to do with any of it. I don't even know what the fuck the thing is about, really.
You don't like being put in the middle of it.
Not was I not put in the middle of it. I was being screamed at
Oh.
and bullied.
It was
and
like a
threatened.
get
and-
your bitch in line phone.
Yeah.
Oh my
but
God.
it was worse than that. It was way worse than that. And my point is
I'm
that
sorry, that's
now
disgusting.
my
Yeah.
fear is the results of whatever this is now going to be.
There's
Right.
no results because
There is a result.
No, there
You know,
isn't. I can call Schaub right now, and
Yeah.
we could be like, all is squared away and everything is fine because we've already talked about it. The promise was that he would never talk about it again.
Sorry, but this woman's delusional if she thinks it's going to be completely cool. It's never cool. The whole reason why he probably denied it and was spinning it into the situation that it is now at the moment when it comes to Brendan is because of the impact it might have in his career and how he's basically looked at. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't want to come out of this looking like the bad person. So clearly he's going to spin it in a way to make it appear as if he's the good guy in the situation. But that's what is really messed up. That bit that Bobby said about receiving phone calls from other comedians in the scene. Brendan going directly to him and basically telling him to get his girl in line or get his bitch in line is absolutely insane. Imagine doing what he did, then getting annoyed at the reaction, and then going to the person that you disrespected, who's kind of, again, like someone's meant to be your friend, and then getting annoyed that their wife is talking about it too much. Like, just imagine the balls that you have to have, the neck on you to think that you could get away with that sort of nonsense. It's absolutely insane. Really insane. It also goes to show, apart from him being a fighter and stuff, it just goes to show how delusional he is and what being part of that group of people has basically done to his sense of self, where he legitimately thinks he can go around and tell people how they should and shouldn't act based off the mistakes that he makes. It's like, you don't have any part of this process at all. You made your mistake. My action is my reaction. Go and dance on my middle finger. That's what it should be. But clearly, Bob is in a position where he can't do or say that sort of thing. But just imagine, man. Imagine one of your friends, somebody you deem to be a friend, trying to hit up your girl and then them calling you to tell you to get your girl in line. Like, I'd be flipping sharpening the axe, mate. I mean, I'll be pulling out the longest, flipping hardest stick that I have in my house and trying to organize a date and time to link you and hit it across the side back of your head. Just imagine, man. Honestly, these people are just awful.
Again, and the next day he went on Flagrant 2 and then talked about it, even though it was in a complimentary way.
Yeah, in a complimentary way. So my
I don't
point
feel like we've said anything bad about him either. The point is, was there a text alluding to possibly suing people? Yes, there was. Did it freak me out and did it make me think, oh shit, like such a small thing to sue over? But was there a lot of misunderstanding from his team and us? Yeah, but we talked it through, but the truth is the truth. And, it's all squared away.
So you guys, I'm just going to get this clear. So you guys were talking about there was this comedian that people assumed was him.
Yeah.
That was trying to pick up all you girls, kind of a sleaze, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So he calls you and says, Bobby, get your woman in line? I mean, what kind of fucking animal does that? That's fucked up. Why doesn't he call you? He has your number, right? I would assume.
It's
Or just
your
how to contact you.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's your fucking podcast. Who the fuck? Why? What the fuck is that shit?
It was not just him.
There was a whole barrage.
It was a
Don't
phone,
say the name.
I'm not gonna. But
Okay.
it was a phone call with other podcasters, and it was
That's some bullshit.
They flogged you, bro.
not flogged me. They threatened my career. They called me a coward, a pussy. You've always been a pussy.
I'm sorry, that's
What?
You have
unacceptable.
and
Blackmail.
they said they would expose me. They said that all
That's-
these things, and I was in Oklahoma shooting a show, and I was at dinner, and I was by myself, and I was getting. It was very traumatic for me, and it was based on whatever they did on the live. Now imagine now what's going to happen with now this.
Okay. To play slight devil's advocate in the situation. No, let's back up Bobby's first. Bobby's point makes complete sense. He was kind of railroaded by Khalyla in some ways, if you think about it, because I still don't understand why that Khalyla story came right after what Anne Liederman said anyway. Because Anne Liederman was talking what she was talking about, right? She went on a bit of a tangent about Brenda and that story that she just remembered that kind of pissed her off. About, I think the conversation before that was about guys thinking that it's one way when it's the other way. Like, basically taking the idea that they can have you easily. I don't know, something on those kind of lines about hooking up with dudes. And then she went on to mention that Trug Walk story. And then Khalyla went out of the blue and just threw that story out there, which happened 7 years ago, right? It's not something that super recently, but it was a long time ago. And obviously, if you record those shows and you put them out there, it probably would have been nice. Maybe it's live. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was live. That's probably maybe the issue. It would have been probably nice on her end to maybe have given Bobby a heads up, like, "Hey, I just mentioned this thing. It's gonna go off. Batten down the hatches. It's gonna be crazy." Maybe that's why he was caught off guard a bit about the whole situation. It's a bit mad. But that aside, most likely the people who called him to tell him to get his girl in line and berated him and bullied him, most likely those people, right? Again, we're just guessing here. We don't really know if it's true. Most likely those people are the same ones that are on King and the Sting, The Fire and the Kid and stuff. So it's most likely going to be Brian Callen, Sam Tripoli, Chris D'Elia, maybe somebody else. Allegedly, I'd say, right? Those people are around. You'd think the people around Brendan who have got his back and feel like they owe their career to him, they're the ones that are probably going to be talking about him like that. Maybe even Eric Griffin, right? Those kind of people. But just imagine if you're Brian Callen, the balls and the gall that you need to have to call someone and tell them that sort of thing, knowing what you just did, knowing the madness that he went through, where he was accused of legit rape, where he went through a process of trying to sue the flipping husband of the rape accuser because that guy was going around and calling comedy stores and trying to get his shows cancelled as a way to get back at him. Imagine you having a goal to do that. The guy that was accused by some store assistant that he allegedly, supposedly tried to get down to his drawers and try and chase the girl around a shop or something crazy. Imagine you, that person, now calling Bobby and saying, "Hey, get your girl in line." And then most likely Sam Tripoli, he's got, again, I like the guy. I think the backing that he did with Chris was nice, but in terms of a human, there's a lot of stuff there that he's done wrong in his own life. To go and call Bobby as well and say that is mad. But part of me also thinks they've kind of been able to have him in line and kind of keep him somewhat quiet and well behaved in the situation, because ultimately Bobby's got crazy skeletons in his closet, right? When it comes to all that stuff concerning underage girls and hooking up, I'm gonna go backwards. Not underage girls. When it comes to consuming with, sex workers in like the third world countries in Southeast Asia and shit. There's some gnarly stories there. And I remember him and Khalyla went on a weird press tour where they basically tried to clean it up and say that it was all lies and he didn't really say those things, he didn't mean it, blah 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 blah. But clearly all those things, I think, are affecting his ability to be really honest about the situation, because he's fearing that if he says too much, those guys are probably gonna, unload the archive of clips that they've got from videos of him on other podcasts where he mentions those crazy stories, and it's gonna completely diminish what he has to say. Or the other theory is that they have this weird open relationship thing that, again, we don't have any business knowing, but this isn't the first instance where something has gone down involving somebody outside of their relationship. It's really murky, right? So I'm assuming they're trying to muddy the waters as much as possible to make Brendan not look like the bad guy. But again, this is what I mean, which is so awful. This is so awful, the entire thing. These guys are legit victims of this thing. They've done nothing wrong. And yet they're having to dance around things, avoid certain saying things because you don't want this to come out about you. It's just so awful. And again, it paints that entire scene to be as toxic and as repugnant as we all thought it was, right? From the outside looking in, as fans of podcasts and shows, you thought there's something icky about this entire thing. And now we've kind of have a slight insight into it, into what kind of goes on behind the scenes, especially somebody like him. Bobby Lee's a legit stand-up. He's like a 30-year veteran. He's been passed at the store, Mad TV, like he's an OG as they come, and still he's been subjected to this stuff. So imagine if you're a new person who just picked up comedy because you saw a couple of specials on Netflix. Imagine what you're going to get treated like if Bobby gets treated like this. Now you're going to say, I'm more tougher than Bobby. Okay, cool, you're tougher than Bobby, so what? Are you going to fight every single person in the scene? Then what? Then you're not going to have a career, innit? It's so awful, man. It really is disgusting, to say the least. Like, it gives you no hope in humanity. This is how they treat each other. You know what I mean? That's like, they're meant to be like peers and have each other's back and brothers and sisters in arms. They're going through the same struggle, but Oh yeah.
It's good you said that.
I think it's good that you're saying that
Because
because
fuck them.
you
should stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
But I
That's
see
so
these
fucked
guys
up.
all the time.
But
you know
to
what I
be
mean?
But
clear,
they did it. They took
this
it there.
behavior
How
is
you-
unacceptable.
but
Totally.
to be
That is
clear,
That's fucked up.
when that happened, he called me like shell shocked and crying. At which point I said, "Give
I
me
wasn't
his
crying.
number."
Come on, I'm a man.
Poor Bobby. That's
Hey,
fucked up.
Bobby, you're
But
you're the
he-
best man, the man that has feelings. Like what the
No,
what the
it's
fuck
true.
are
And
we
also
talking
when
about?
he's like being spoken
You
to.
think she wants somebody?
Say that again
that
for the
can't
people
feel
in
anything?
back. Say that again for the people in
Go
back.
ahead.
We love men that can cry.
Bottom.
So to be clear,
This story
that was
is
the height of the chaos was when that happened. At which point
I don't love men that can cry. I haven't cried since 1992. Don't believe these people. Don't wish yourself happy birthday. Don't retweet your own tweets. Don't reshare birthday greetings from people. Be like me, dark, mysterious, uncrying. Don't listen to these people, okay?
I said,
I'm so sorry, dude.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
fucked up.
well, to both of you, also not
Yeah.
having like the balls to talk to you. He has the balls to go and fight people, but like, why does he gotta
Right.
go?
Did
talk
you even
to
know what was going on when he
Go
called
talk
you?
No,
to your man.
You're like, what are you guys talking about?
he didn't know what it was happening.
I don't. Number one, I don't. They were okay. First of all, they were like, we have evidence of something, right? So they go, we have 50 pages of
No, they said 300 pages.
whatever of evidence.
Dude, Brandon Schwab can't even read, bro. How the fuck that guy bringing 300 pages of anything? That guy's barely literate. Are you kidding me?
Well, this is where I think that there's a disconnect between.
Dude,
That's hilarious. Honestly, give it up to Ethan Klein. That was a 10 out of 10 joke. My man can barely read. But honestly, this is probably one of the most craziest accusations I've ever heard in my entire life. Bobby Lee's going to reveal later on when he finishes his sentence that Brendan and his team of redacts legitimately thought that Bobby Lee was behind the flipping Fire in the Kids subreddit, the home of the homeless cats. This guy honestly thinks this man here was the reason why that subreddit is banging. Like, he was the new CEO. He is the head of the kitchen. He's the one flipping shouting the orders. What's that? What's the person called? Is that when you're in the kitchen, you're the line cook, but when you're the head person, like shouting things like, go do this, do that. We got one more chicken coming, da da da. What's that person called? It's not chef, is it? I don't know what that person is, but whatever, right? He thought he was that person. That's what, what? Come on, man. And that's why I guess the friction started in the first place. So he's like, okay, if I can't take your girl, I'm going to ruin your reputation by accusing you of being the head founder of a subreddit that happens to be one of the best subreddits on flipping the internet. Oh, wow. What a crime. I'm so sorry. I provide hundreds of thousands of people, sometimes maybe millions, with laughs upon laughs, with memes and compilations and whatnot about some of your redacted ways. Oh, no, the horror. I don't want anyone to find out that. I'm a stand-up comedian. I don't want anyone to find out I do some other funny things on the internet. Oh, whatever will I do if that happens? God almighty, these people, man. Gag.
There's a disconnect between the information he's being fed by his team. I don't think it's all him. Like, he's just like, I have 300 pages of proof that of an IP address that's linked to Bobby's.
Please.
Listen to this, Ethan.
What a
Linked to
fucking
Bobby's
liar.
computer. I was like, do you realize how tech stupid Bobby
Thank
is?
you.
He answers phone calls on his iPad. Do you know what I mean?
My man.
Saying that, and basically that we've launched an attack on him for the past 5-6 years. And I told Brendan, I was like, Brendan, with all due respect, like, you're not an afterthought for us. Like, why would we as a company just dedicate 5-6 years to this harassment on Reddit when my sweet lover...
Oh, because a lot of people hate Brandon. There's like a whole movement.
So yeah, he's trying to
He blames that on you guys?
Yes, and so now we're at a point where it's like, well...
He says that he has proof that me, for the last 5 or 6 years, that I've been on Reddit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I gotta say.
I'm gonna tell you.
Go.
Let me finish.
Everybody breathe.
I've been spending my time. First of all, number one, I don't own A computer. I don't even know how to buy one, really. You know what I mean?
He really does.
Right. Number two, right? I don't know how to get on Reddit. I've asked her, how do you get on it? What is it? You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just not tech savvy in that way. It's shameful to say, but
It's not shameful. You're what are you, like 50, 60?
He's 50.
Yeah.
So
you are the best looking 50-year-old, by the way.
Thank you.
You are.
There are pages about me as well.
And me. And
that are
horrible ones
destroying
about
me,
me.
so I don't read it.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah. And
And
that are
horrible ones
destroying
about
me, so
me.
I don't read it.
You know what also is absolutely highly impressive in this whole entire thing when it comes to the accusation that Bobby somehow was the founder of the homeless cats? It's this realization that, well, for us anyway, from the outside in, it seems as if Brendan and his crew at Redux can't get it through their heads that there could be a place that exists on the internet where up to or over 60,000 people have clearly made it their mission to highlight and to pinpoint every mistake and awful thing those guys say because they don't like them as human beings. They can't even get it through their heads that might exist. It's impossible to them. It's like, nah, no way. Of course, yes way. It's the internet. Loads of people exist on the internet, especially people who aren't, US based, people who aren't maybe fans of you, people who would never be fans of you, people just enjoy trolling. It could be a reality out there for somebody, especially someone like Brendan, who's, has a million shows out there. There's many, many hours of him speaking online. He doesn't even have it. There's no part of his brain that can process the idea that there might be people out there who just don't like him as a human and will go online and basically speak about it, with randoms online and have loads of fun. They just can't get it through their heads. It just doesn't make any sense. It's crazy, these people, man. I just don't like. That's a really interesting part of it, because I guess in some ways you'd say, "Oh, you're all haters." Okay, cool, they're haters, but how many haters do you think you have? Do you think you only have 10? You only think you only have 100? Really? You don't think you only have 100 haters? The stuff that you said over the years, your connection to Joe Rogan, the fact people that think you have a career that's undeserved. It's like, I don't know. These people are nuts, bruv. He just clearly doesn't get it. Like, it's impossible. How can you not like me? It's like, what? I think I mentioned it previously before. Like, I've not liked people for the smallest of things. Like, sometimes you can start a job and especially a new job, it's always the same, especially when you're an adult, because those are times where you get to be in environments with new people you don't know. And it can be somebody you get the vibe straight away that some person just doesn't like you. They haven't met you before, they don't know anything about you, and just from the cut of your jib, or the way you wear your jacket, or how you close your Tupperware when you're eating your lunch, something about you just irks them. And there's nothing you can do to change their mind. They just don't like you. That's perfectly fine. But for whatever reason, these people, these comedians, or some of them within the LA comedy scene, they just can't get it through their heads that some people just don't like them. As much people they have as for fans who get tattoos of them on their body, who go and do meet and greets and pay money to have them sign t-shirts and take pictures with them, they also can't see the other side of things where there might be people out there who just think, you know what, F you and everything you believe in. Like, they can't see it. And I don't understand it. How can you be an internet personality, a content creator, and not understand how it works? There's always going to be a yin and a yang. There's always going to be people out there who don't like you and people who do like you. It just is what it is. It's not really that serious. I don't know.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
As someone who's been in technology my whole life,
Yeah.
people that don't know fucking anything about technology say that shit.
Yeah.
But I think
It's
it's
impossible to get that.
right.
He doesn't have it.
When
it's
anybody
impossible to
says
get
they
it.
have
But I think
proof against you,
But Ethan,
Bullshit.
I think that I'll defend him in this scenario by saying I think his team is giving him a lot of wrong information.
Well, whatever.
And that's ultimately what
Yeah.
him and I were able to find common ground. It's like, look, I think I'm receiving wrong information, and I'm like, I can understand that. I can forgive
He's
that.
just trying to scare you. Dan, is it? Oh, Dan is our tech wizard. He's walking with a bag of chips, Dan, for Christ's sake.
Not call him right
Yeah.
now. That's
Wait,
the
we're
dumbest thing
okay.
to
Him
do.
and I are okay now.
I doubt it.
I'm going to say this.
No.
After this,
No.
you will not be okay.
I agree with that.
I promise you this, and this has opened. No, I'm not fine. I'm fine. Or I'm totally fine. Totally fine. But I'm just saying
That
this has
toothpick is-
opened up a world. I'm not a pussy, right? I'm just saying, the thing is that you guys don't do stand-up, right?
No.
Right? So I'm always around them.
Yeah.
Right? I always have, so I'm trying to play it politically, right? I feel like I was assaulted for something that I didn't do at all. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking
You
about.
truly have nothing to do with it.
I have nothing to do with, and yet I was being, you know what I mean?
They put it all on
attacked,
you.
right?
Because they're using you to try to control what Khalyla's doing.
Right. So, I went to therapy and about it. You know what I mean?
Really?
Talked about it yesterday because it's like it was just so traumatic, and these were my friends, and I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about, right?
Wow.
And so my whole thing was, let's never talk about it again, ever, right? And let's just brush it under the rug so that I can go to comedy clubs and look them in the eye and be cordial, right? But now, right, this is a whole nother fucking thing.
I don't know, man. Just imagine that sort of working environment you have to work in. Just imagine your girlfriend's basically being penalized for being hot, right? She's being penalized for being attractive. You then have to, as a man, as a guy, somehow feel as if you have the responsibility to now beat up everyone that tries to slide in her DMs. And even worse so, because the person trying to slide into your DMs are the people who are working in the same industry as you, the same scene. They're meant to be your peers, meant to be your colleagues in an industry where you need people to basically have your back. You need people to rubber stamp you. You need people to open the door for you, to introduce you to so-and-so person. It's not a thing that you can just do on your own. Unless you can, I guess, since nowadays, maybe if you want to, you can just have a podcast career and then just do your thing on your own. But for the most part, you want people to have your back and to support you so that you can kind of lift each other up. And then this is happening. Just imagine how awful that must be, having to navigate this. He's done nothing wrong, but now he's been put into a corner where you have to, again, like I say, threaten people with physical violence, go on strike, cause arguments in places, but that's not going to help his career. And he clearly cares about stand-up way more than he does about podcasting. Because if it was podcasting, he probably wouldn't give a shit, just continue making shows. But he clearly gets a lot of joy from being able to go on stage and to be around his comedic friends and whatnot and shoot the shit and be a silly goose. And it's now that's being put into question now because he's dating Khalyla and other men feel as if they deserve her more. I just can't figure. It's such a bizarre situation. And the funny thing about it is that they seem to be willing to protect Brendan way more for his shitty behavior than they're willing to call out their own friends and peers for some of their somewhat crazy indiscretions, like, being accused of rape, like maybe contacting girls who are underage. That seems to be something people will just kind of cover their eyes of and just pretend didn't happen, cover their ears and keep it moving. But how dare you try to suggest that Brendan hasn't got the, shouldn't be going out there and trying to slide into flipping, people's DMs and shit. Come on, man. Come on. These motherfuckers. Anyway, we'll continue a bit more and then we'll jump onto other clips
that I got to deal with now.
Yeah, I see your point.
Yeah.
It just sucks because
they're bullies.
They are.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to bully you, and it sucks that you're in this position now.
Yeah.
Where you have to. It's like it sounds like some bullshit boys club, where it's like let's be honest, dude. A lot of these fucking guys have accusations against them, and it's a fucking boys club, and they're all protecting each other. And I'm not saying that one did one did
I have no
one.
idea what you're talking about.
Okay, fine. I'm not saying anyone did anything specifically, but it's like, hey, your girl's out of line. You got to protect the boys, and it's fucked up. It's bullying bullshit, dude.
Yeah, and on Flagrant 2, Andrew Schultz's podcast, he was like, I contacted Khalyla, and I'm like, no, I asked Bobby for your new number, and I reached out to you.
He wanted to talk to you. So.
Oh, okay. Then it was both
all right.
ways.
So that's a two-way street. All right, let's be real. All right,
But I don't like the narrative that he came to me with this, because it took months or like 2 months before he even wanted to come directly to the source. And I would have been, if he saw the first podcast on Trash Tuesday and said, hey, I really didn't like what you said. It could have alluded to me. That's not good for me. And then I would have said, I understand that. I didn't realize that you would be getting extra harassment from all
Right,
of this.
right,
I
right,
apologize. I will
right.
not say it again. It's also not a cancelable offense to hit on a woman. It's not a big deal. It
No.
was an anecdote.
Yeah,
And
totally.
it could have been resolved right then and there. And I did tell
To play slightly devil advocate, if it's not a big deal, why mention it? You know what I mean? It's just whatever. Anyway, the funny thing about this also reveals Brendan's tendency to lie often. And I think I've always wondered, like, what is it with the lying? Because one thing I've noticed about this guy is that he clearly lies with some level of sophistication. There's always a kernel of truth in his lies. It's not always a full-on lie. So when he said on the Flagrant 2 podcast that he reached out to Khalyla to just get this sorted, like, I don't like to deal with middlemen, just come to me first, that sort of narcissistic stupid stuff that people do, right, where it's like, oh, people have to kind of come to you and tell you what their issue is, you can't ever go to them. It's just nonsense, right? But he said clearly that I went and reached out to her to kind of get this sorted. I'm not going to go through middle people, I'm not going to talk through the internet. But now she's saying, no, that's not what happened. I contacted him and we then spoke about it for an hour or whatnot, and we agreed to what we agreed to. But then Bobby then counteracts and says, no, he actually asked for your number or contact you, but then he never followed through. So he feels like in Brendan's head, because he asked Bobby first for Khalyla's number, that already means he contacted her when it wasn't that case, that she clearly rang him or texted him, hey, I'm going to call you, let's talk. And then it went there. So it's just such an unnecessary lie. It's such a weird lie to say, because if you say, hey, we got on the phone and we spoke about it, that's still fine. But he made a clear point of saying, no, I don't do the internet stuff. Like, basically, that's what he said, right? In a roundabout way on Flagrant 2. I don't do the internet stuff. I contacted her directly so he could sort this. But you didn't, though, innit? You didn't. You didn't, clearly. She said it herself out of her mouth. It's like months and months after that you kind of agreed to get on the phone and talk about it. It's just, oh, yeah, it's just, that's the really weird bit about him, I think, that's changed over the years. Again, as a former fan, who used to love T5K back on there on Fox, this is something that I've never really understood where that happened, where that shift kind of happened. Maybe it was always like that, but I feel like the ego's one thing because you're maybe hot shit and you're on Rogan now, you're doing touring around the world, and you're doing shows, and you're buying nice things for yourself and looking after your family. I can understand the ego coming from those things because we all have our motivations, right? If he's motivated by money and material things, that's not a bad thing, all good. But I just don't understand the change in character. Like, my man went from being a somewhat lovable douche, no, a lovable jock, let's say, to just being a straight up douche, to where people are honestly looking to see him fail. I mean, people are out there really hoping and wishing that something bad happens in his career where he can't, support his family, he has to sell his cars and stuff. Like, people are legitimately like that out there. They've got that kind of energy for him. And I don't know I don't know how it happened. When it went from being lovable jock that everyone's kind of rooting for to then suddenly being somebody that clearly everyone thinks is a piece of shit, and they really want to expose everything bad that he does, with kind of laser sharp precision and crazy level of detail. It's just weird to see it in real time. And it's also crazy that he's not even noticing it. He's not even noticing it at all. It's just, everyone's a hater. Everyone's a hater. Everyone's got Cheeto fingers and shit. It's just like,
tell him that when I spoke to him a week ago. I said, this was a very, very simple thing. So from here on out, moving forward, let's shake on it. If you have a problem with something I say, come to me directly. And he said the same thing. So we're good. We're good. I promise you we're okay.
I promise you we're not.
No.
I promise you're not. And I promise you there's a wave coming now, and that's it.
Unfortunately, I agree with Bobby, just because I don't think they're going to be happy that it's out there that they're fucking bullying Bobby.
Because these are elements that I was never going to share. These are elements that I was going to just keep to
But
myself.
is that okay? Like,
It's not okay. It's but you got to live your life.
yeah, you gotta live your life.
No, it's okay with me because I'm doing. First of all, number one, would I say that they're friends of mine anymore? No, they're
Yeah.
out. Right,
Yeah.
I stopped following them on social media.
Okay.
Right, and I did what I'm doing to protect myself. What they did was not what a friend would do.
But
right?
he did apologize to you, Bobby. Brendan did.
Yeah, he did apologize. But what I'm saying is that the world didn't know what had happened.
Right.
Right? And so it's like, those are the elements that I was gonna just kind of go, let's brush that to the side, right? Had my own way of processing it and dealing with it politically because I do stand up every night and I'm just around now. I have to now pick and choose where I go up, right? I do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I have to go.
I get it.
cannot go there that night because now they're there, right? And it just this has made it very difficult for me. And
It sucks. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's
It's
not
all right.
fair.
I mean, it's out there, and that's why I wish you didn't do a live podcast. Yeah.
We're gonna move on to another clip, but ultimately, this face from Ethan is basically the crux of the situation in it, right? This reaction. Where is it? Oh, where is it? Is it here?
It's
not
all right.
fair.
I mean, it's out there, and that's why I wish you didn't do a live podcast.
Ultimately, that's it. That's the reality of the situation. It's a shitty situation, especially for Bobby Lee concerning his career. It's obviously a shitty situation. I can't even say that word properly. I'm getting Schaubisms. I mean, too much Schaub is flipping polluting or damaging the way that I speak myself. It's obviously a shitty situation for Khalyla herself, right? Clearly, because now this has been turned into a whole different thing. People are now micro-analyzing or basically going into forensic detail about her past dilly dances with other men and stuff. It's absolutely going crazy. I don't have any business getting involved in that sort of stuff. And in general too, it's also going to open up Ethan to a whole slew of people coming after him as well, because he's a person that's probably easy to basically insult and get at because of all his missteps over the years. It's just a situation for all people involved. Shitty situation for all people involved. Everybody doesn't come out of this smelling like roses. No one. It's absolutely mad. But Lee bloody 2. Let's move on to the next clip. What's the other one here? Oh yeah, this one. This was the most egregious one, isn't it? This is titled "Joe Rogan uses a threat against Bobby Lee." Just if it's bad enough, right? The person who's been accused of being the slider of the DMs getting at you and telling you to get your girl in line, that's one thing. It's obviously horrible. But then to have people use Joe Rogan's name as some sort of threat to get you to be in line or to get you to be on manners and to behave. I'd be catching cases, mate. I'd be catching cases left, right, and center. I'll do a bid off the back of that. You're not gonna muzzle me with the threat of another man's name. Like, are you insane? Oh yeah.
This has been the most interesting podcast I've ever done.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was fantastic.
Fantastic.
I mean, yeah, it's been. I've never felt the kind of emotions that I've felt, fear, but also relief, in combination with an unknown. You know what I mean? Aspect of it. It's like we've talked about, even aside from that, about our weight, doing the butthole thing, Star Trek. You know what I mean? And on and on. But I'll be honest with you. The whole time I've been thinking about that thing.
Yeah.
The whole time.
The first half.
Yeah, it's been literally
of course.
lingering
Of course.
in the back of my mind
Yeah.
the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Because I don't do well with PTSD and trauma.
You
Well,
have a lot of it.
have
Which
a
is
lot of
fucked
it.
up because that's kind of, you don't hide that. You're open about a lot of the stuff you've been through. And especially considering all that, it's even more fucked up the way they came at you like that. It's just fucked. It's
And
just
that's why
wrong.
people like
It's
him
messed
do
up,
that,
dude.
right? Because not a lot of people will stand up or wanna even go there. Nobody wants to go through that. So he's doing it to silence you.
And there is also something
And-
very slanderous happening, was that he didn't just tell us about the Reddit thing. He was telling Rogan. He was telling Whitney.
Who would believe that though? It seems insane.
Who knows? But I'm
Yeah,
just
but
saying,
he's saying
like,
he's telling people shit.
he's telling other people that this is what you did. This is what our company did. And that is, to me,
That's
like...
nuts.
Well, I mean, his name, when they did assault me, right? His name came up a lot, Rogan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a threat, like, we're going to go to Rogan. and
Daddy
we're gonna
Rogan.
Bury you, right?
Stupid asshole.
And so when they use
I'm sorry,
him,
that's
especially because
ridiculous.
I obviously love him,
Yeah.
Joe, and I don't have any issues with him. And
Yeah.
In fact, I just saw him 3 weeks ago. I love him. We
Good.
hug and we talk, and he's just been so supportive of me, Joe. But when they use him, right, as a threat, it's kind of like, because he has such a big audience, right? And it's like, I don't know what, you know.
think Joe is
Imagine the absolute, so many horrible people in that scene. The fact that this happens isn't surprising, I think, especially if you've been paying attention somewhat. I think a lot of people, especially the people on the flipping homeless cats, the Fire and the Kids subreddit, have been long saying this, or even some people in the Joe Rogan subreddit have been saying this also, that Joe has a oversized influence on the scene and how people behave and what they do and how they act and how certain people are treated, especially when it comes to podcasts and who gets made fun of and who people are trying to suck up to. It's no surprise that most of the people who are now pally with Joe from the New York type of scene, or people who maybe were on the outskirts of the LA scene, had to come through the Fire and the Kid to get to Rogan. Do you know what I mean? They had to kind of get a cosign from Brendan in that way. Similar to what that accusation that Ari Hawani put out there about the Food Truck Diaries, right? He put out there the suggestion or the idea, or, kind of alluded to the fact that maybe Brendan pays guests to come on his show, but he also proposes that if you come on the Food Truck Diaries, that it could also be a pathway for you to get onto JRE, which I don't think is true, because I think Joe kind of just, moves to the beat of his own drum. But there is the idea around it that if you're nice and you're cool with the people close around Rogan, that it can bring some benefit to your career. Right, some good can come of it. And a good example, again, to make a point of it, was flipping Tim Dillon said recently on his podcast. He said something like, it kind of felt like he was saying part of his reason why he doesn't care about this whole thing and why it's nonsense is that the whole LA scene is built on nonsense, because he only got past, he felt like, at the Comedy Store because Joe Rogan directly called him and told him to pass him. It wasn't because they liked him and thought he was a funny guy, it's just because he's friends with Joe, and it kind of exposed to him, you'd imagine, I'm filling in words here, he didn't say this, but you'd imagine it kind of exposed to him the absurdity and the nonsense of this whole situation, that you're busting your ass trying to get funnier, trying to be funnier and trying to make up better material and get on stage more to impress these guys, and the only thing that really moves the needle is if you can get Joe to call them directly to tell you, or to tell them, that you're funny. Do you know what I mean? The absurdity of that. So it's no surprise that it could work on the opposite side. You could also use Joe Rogan's name as a threat to kind of get people to stay in line. And it makes sense, because a lot of people in the subreddit have basically said in a roundabout way, like, why don't people go after Brendan or say stuff about him when he does really nonsense things, or says retarded stuff or whatever it may be? Why don't anyone say anything? And this is the reason why, because he's basically one of Joe Rogan's closest friends, and you don't want to upset Joe, so you don't want to upset Brendan, because it could get back to Joe and that could damage your potential to kind of be a part of that crew and be a part of that scene. Notice how there's no one in that group of people, with the exception of maybe Shane Gillis, who's basically said anything about Brendan. Do you know what I mean? They all kind of pretend like he doesn't exist, or they will just throw out some empty platitudes, because they know what it can do in terms of affecting their career, because it's affected it for the best, and it can also affect it for the negative too. So I can definitely understand where this is coming from in that regard.
Because he has such a big audience, right? And it's like, I don't know what,
you think Joe is that stupid, though, that people can tell him, yo, you're not going to have Bobby on?
Right, I don't think Joe.
You think he got to where he got because he would listen to stuff like that?
But the fact that they go there,
the fact that they go there says a lot about them.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about Joe.
Yeah, but
when we first moved here to LA from Israel, we had all kinds of shit happen to us, and we had people tell us, like, we're going to put you on a blacklist, nobody's ever going to work with you, all kinds of bullshit like that. That was really scary at the time, and I cried and all this stuff. And guess what? Nothing happened.
Oh, it was a YouTube MCN. This is the biggest fucking joke.
Nothing
happened.
Of course
we got
not. They're
very
fucking clowns.
successful.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I did? The minute they started threatening, I went public with everything. Fucking clowned them into bullshit. The CEO called me because they were fucking us over business-wise. Like, we signed up. They said it was one way. We signed up with them and locked in a contract. It was another way. So I said, listen, let's just part ways. It's not working. And they go, you signed a contract. It's time to stop being a child.
That's not how it works.
He's like, I'm going to tell everyone you're bad to work with. And I found out later that he was telling other big YouTubers not to work with me and shit.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just put them all on. I put everything out there. and they fucking ate shit because they're pieces of shit. And we got out of the contract.
The reality is, none of it really matters.
It does not.
Nothing
This is
matters.
not going. They have zero power over your career. Absolutely zero. They have minus power.
But here's where, and this is the truth, is the reason why I'm scared is because I'm afraid of losing certain things. But the thing is that I'm getting to a place in my life where, because I honestly, for the last 25 years, show business and my career was so important to me because I worked so hard at it, right? But I've been trying to expand my life outside of it and to go, what do I love? What else do I love? What else can I do, right? And once I let go of the fact that this could go away, or, you know what I mean, it doesn't make me who I am, right? And that there are other things that I can do and other loves, it'll be painful, right? But in that regard, I'm fine. I give it too much power.
But you know what the truth is? That maybe you're too in your head to realize you're Bobby Lee, dude. You're a legend, bro. You already made it.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna take anything away from you at this point.
Yeah.
You don't have to care about any of those fucking guys.
Yeah.
You don't care about shit because the job's gonna come. The fans are there. People are gonna buy tickets to your shows because you're fucking Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
And you're already a legend.
Yeah.
You're already built yourself. You don't have to care about anything anymore.
And ultimately, that's the truth. And that's where everybody should be aiming to get to. That's why most of these industries and scenes and stuff are always really GAY and filled with horrible people, because they can play gatekeeper. They can play king and queen maker, right? They can decide whether or not you have a career or not. And ultimately, that's why I feel like places like YouTube and, content creations in general and social media and stuff have been so empowering, things like Patreon and whatnot, because it allows people to have direct access to back you and the stuff that you do. And you don't have to answer to nobody. You don't have to play any political stupid games. You can just go directly to your fans. Think of even stuff like OnlyFans. Do you know what I mean? Imagine the chokehold, flipping adult entertainment studios must have on people. If it's bad already in mainstream Hollywood, imagine how worse it must be being a flipping adult entertainment actor. And you're having to deal with those people and get rights to stuff and be paid adequately and whatnot. But with OnlyFans, those kind of things, you can go directly to people who want to see you. If they want to see you bust it open, you know what I mean, or take it from several places, they can directly, just through your platform only. You don't have to answer to no one. And it takes a while to accept that that's the new reality and to be comfortable with not kind of playing the political game and whatnot. But sooner rather than later, especially if you're Bobby Lee, man, he's got, you know what I mean, Tiger Belly's doing fantastic, Bad Friends is doing well, he's got his own studio, great bunch of friends. It doesn't matter really what they have to say about things, but because he spent a long time kind of grafting to be part of this comedy scene, to get past, to be to be flipping regarded as a funny person within your community, and to be spending 20 plus years trying to be funny to get better at stand-up. I can understand why it could feel precious and really something that you feel like you can't let go. But ultimately, it is what it is, isn't it? Let the chips fall where they mean to lead to fall, man. But yeah, big up Bobby Lee, man. It's just, man did nothing wrong, and he's out here just flipping, feeling sorry for himself and thinking he doesn't. I don't know. Let's quickly move on. Let's see this. What's the last clip here? Bullying in the comedy world. Okay, let's quickly watch this one. This is the last clip, and then I'm gonna jump onto some recent stuff and see what these guys have to say regarding what's happening in real time. Let's see. This is a clip titled "Bobby Lee exposes bullying in the comedy world." Let's see what they have to say in this one.
The comedy culture for me, since I moved there in the late 90s, has always been bullying.
Really?
Yeah, there's always been like yeah, I mean.
What the hell?
I never expected to hear that. No, I'm serious.
I really did.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
You laugh because it seems obvious to you?
Yeah, to me that it seems obvious. Especially in certain clubs, it's always been a boys' club. I mean, there were boys, I can't name names, that would literally walk up to Whitney Cummings and Chelsea Handler and go, "Women aren't funny, get out of here."
Are you fucking kidding me?
And they would say that to them, right?
But that is kind of true. Women aren't funny, are they? No, I'm joking. It's hilarious that that's a thing in it in comedy, right? That women can't be funny. What a bizarre thing to throw out there. Women can't do stand up. That's probably come from a bros thing. I don't know what that must was. What that it may be. Maybe in the beginning when there weren't many women doing it, possibly there's not going to be many funny ones. But once you get a lot of women to do it, and they're doing it on the same stage as all the other dudes, then it shouldn't be that much of an issue for them to kind of, close the skill gap and start to become as funny as the guys, isn't it? It's not really. I don't know. I've never bumped into somebody who thought, oh yeah, you're funny for a guy, you're funny for a girl. It's just funny is funny. You meet loads of funny people all the time. The fact that funny is only given, or maybe I guess the thinking behind it maybe comes from that. Was it Louis C.K. article? I think it was Louis C.K. Was it Louis C.K.? Or was it no, it wasn't Louis C.K. It wasn't Louis C.K. It was the famous British intellectual. What's his fucking name? I forgot his name. Christopher Hitchens. That's it. Christopher Hitchens wrote this essay back in the day, didn't he, about female comedians, right? Let me see if I can find it actually. I think that's where this stuff comes from. Let me see. Christopher Hitchens, female comedians. Let's see if I can see it. I think he said it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. It was an article written on Vanity Fair, right? Let's see if we can get this up here. And I think this is maybe the genesis of why people would say those things, right? Vanity Fair, why women aren't funny. What makes a female so much deadlier than a male? With assists from Fran Lebowitz, Nora Ephron, and recent Stanford medical student study, the author investigates the reasons for this humor gap. Be your gender what it may, you will certainly have heard the following from a female friend who is enumerating the charms of a new male squeeze. He's really quite cute. He's kind to all my friends, and he knows all kinds of stuff, and he's so funny. If you see yourself as a guy and you know the man in question, you will often say to yourself, funny, he wouldn't even know a joke if it hit him. So if it came served on a bed of lettuce with some sauce. However, there is something that you absolutely never hear from a male friend who is hymning his latest female love interest. She's a real honey. He has a real life of her own, interlude. And man, does she make him laugh. Now, why is this? Why is this the case? I mean, why are women who have the whole male world at their mercy not funny? Please do not pretend to not know what I'm talking about. All right. Try it the other way, as the bishop said to me at the bar. As the bishop said to the barmaid, why are men taken on average as a whole funnier than women? Well, for one, they had damn well better be. The chief task in life that a man has to perform is that the impressing of the opposite sex, and Mother Nature, as we'll laughingly call her, is not kind to men. In fact, she quips many fellows with very little arrangement for their struggle. An average man has just one outside chance. Has just one outside chance. He had better make the lady funny. Lady laugh. Why can't I read out loud today? Make them laugh has been one of the most crucial preoccupations of my life. If you can stimulate her to laughter, I am talking about that real out loud, head back, mouth open to expose the full horseshoe of your lovely teeth, involuntary full, deep-throated mirth, the kind that is accompanied by a shocked surprise and slight. No, make that a loud plea for delight. Well, then you have at least caused her to loosen up and to change her expression. I shall not elaborate further. Women have no corresponding need to appeal to men in this way. They already appeal to men, if you catch my drift. Indeed, we know and have a full joy of scientific studies which illustrates this defense. But you get the point, right? This is basically, I think, where that whole women aren't funny thing came from. I would assume, but maybe it's a long-held thing. But in general, if you put people on the same playing field and you allow them to compete in the same way, then usually the skill gap does get closed. And I feel like with stuff like performing on the stage and telling jokes, it really isn't that difficult, even if you're unfunny in real life, to become funny on stage, because it's two different things. You've met people, you've met a lady in a bar, you've met a woman somewhere else in a school, and they've all been funny to you in some way, shape, or form. Does that mean they can get on stage and be funny? Obviously not. Same goes for guys. But the idea that women can't be funny, and then you'd go up to a woman in the club and tell them, hey, you're a woman, so you can't be funny, is hilarious. But it also goes to show just how nightmarish it must be to flipping navigate that scene. Just imagine navigating that scene. You're already getting hassled because you're somewhat you're what do you call it? You're somewhat attractive, so people are trying to now get on you because of that. And then you're also having to kind of basically convince people that you also should have a chance to be funny on stage, because they just to give you a chance, because they're not giving you a chance because of your gender. It just doesn't make any sense. I see someone in here mentioned Amy Schumer. No comment. Oh, she keeps sharing fucking jokes that she wrote that she didn't think were funny. I don't know. Whatever.
One time, a comic threw ice at Natasha Leggero's face. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
that type of mentality. I've always used women as openers because I always loved them. I've always been friends with female comics. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But they've also said stuff like that Asians aren't funny back in the day.
Oh, well, that.
Asians don't do stand-up because they're not funny. They're not a funny people, this and that. But all those things are things for me to persevere. But because I'm a guy from trauma and
And just so we're clear, Amy Schumer is one of the greatest living comedians of her generation. She will go down in history as one of the true comedic greats. Amy Schumer should have a statue built in her honor. She should have studios throwing money at her to produce countless comedic film after comedic film. Amy Schumer and not Dave Chappelle should be at the top of the mountain when it comes to stand-up comedy. Amy Schumer is the benchmark when it comes to the funnies. If you want to have an idea of what funny is, read aloud an Amy Schumer joke. That's the height of funny. Amy Schumer is the greatest.
my dad was so violent growing up, right? I've always had this thing of like, I'll show you, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I feel like I have done that, you know what I mean? That Asians are funny, we're funnier than you are, you know what I mean? I can get as many laughs as any other comic.
When I went and saw you,
Yeah.
I saw a few you crushed harder than anyone. People were electric for you.
Yeah, so I know that ability, but because of the culture at the time, right, of bullying, right, I just felt like that was just a part of the nature of the sport.
Wow.
And I endured it,
Wow.
And because of what happened a week ago, whatever, when I was bullied by these guys, right? To me, it's like the same mentality. It's like, I'm just gonna, process it, deal with it in my own way, and just find a perspective.
Yeah.
And my obvious.
Someone in the chat suggested a good thing. Imagine Schaub and Schumer going on a tour together, comedy show together or something, or doing a show. Imagine that. Schaub and Schumer. That would be pretty decent, to market that. The Jock and the Bimbo, or something like that, right? Just imagine how that would be. Like, you frame it around those two archetypes, and you just let them run loose with the jokes and with the funnies on stage. Like, that would be absolute golden TV. Great for the YouTube reactions, great for the content generations. The amount of content that would be generated from that one show would be sublime. The stories from behind the scenes, everything concerning it, the stage designs, what they end up wearing, what they end up talking and joking about. Oof, imagine Schaub and Schumer, the Jock and the Bimbo, coming to a theatre near you.
Obviously, my relationship with certain people now have completely changed. It'll never go back the same, because at the end of the day, like, I know what I've done and what I haven't done in my life. All right, I do, right? Right? When people accuse me of certain things, there are some things like, yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? And there's a couple of things that I've done that one day I would like to talk about on podcasts that are like, that I've done to specific comics that are like not cool. You know what I mean? And I know that I did those things, and I feel guilty and shame over it, right? But the things that they were saying last week, they came from such left field, right? That like I was the mastermind, you know what I mean, behind this Reddit group that was after, you know what I mean, Brendan Schaub. Why would I do that? I legitimate, and this is even
Honestly, if you saw Bobby type on a laptop, he's typewriter fingers. He does this.
yeah, I do that, right? I have to.
He has 2 fingers.
Yeah,
But that should tell you something about their mentality, that they had this working theory about you even before this happened, that you're somehow trying to destroy him.
Yeah.
Like, does she really?
I also would uplift him and his crew and the people around him.
Dare I say you've probably been one of the most supportive people, like when he did first start doing stand-up.
Yeah, I have.
He said that. I remember I saw a clip. He said that Bobby was really that you were really
and I'm
supportive
still
of him.
supportive of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that he's funny. I really legitimately do.
The only one.
That's the tragic bit of the whole thing, isn't it? Right? Bobby actually was supporting the guy, giving him, loads of support behind the scenes. Running with that story that he's a UFC guy coming into comedy, it's a hard transition, blah blah blah, and he still stabbed him in the back. Classic, innit? You gotta love that. Absolutely classic. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that. And then we're gonna see. I think this is whose reaction is this? Joe's reaction to the entire thing. Sorry about that. Let's get this up on the screen. Joe's reaction is pretty funny, or not. It kind of doesn't really say much, but Joe says the following. This is taken from his show, where he said this: I've heard about these comedians, and people are assuming he's speaking about what's going on with with this whole gang, with Khalyla, Bobby Lee, Brendan Schaub, Annie Leadham, and stuff that's happening, right? People are assuming he's speaking about that, but he didn't say it, he didn't name them by name. But anyway, he said the following: I've heard about these comedians' arguments, man. It's so crazy, man. I can't do the flipping, the way that Tim Dillon does that. I wish I could copy it, man. This is so good. It's so crazy. It's like you have this guy over here and he's saying all these things about this guy, and then the guy over there on the other side is saying something else. But then at the end of the day, these guys are just saying these things. Humans just get so caught up in this whole tribalism thing where you pick sides. So this guy's saying, okay, my side said stuff. No, okay, my said things are right, while the other guy is saying, no, my said things are right. But in actuality, they're just guys saying things claiming to be right. It's like you're just some chimp who learned to talk because of mushrooms, who's saying what's right. It's so insane. Of course, pseudo-intellectual nonsense to justify, not to kind of make excuses, not just to call out your mate and just say, hey, he was being shitty. To be charitable to Joe, I also generally don't think he has any idea what's going on. I honestly do think, from what I kind of gleaned, because again, I've been a big Joe Rogan fan from the very beginning. I've maybe tuned in, I think, in the high 400s, right, in terms of episodes. I've been there from the very start. I feel like, anyway, I think that was a start, or for me anyway, at least, is when it kind of really kind of hit home for me. But I feel like Joe doesn't know anything that's going on. And I also feel like since he left LA, he's completely kind of divorced himself from everything going on over there, since he kind of moved over to Austin. And also, I would imagine there's also a part of him that maybe thinks it's not out of the realm of possibility that maybe Bobby Lee could have started the Fighting the Kid subreddit. You know what I mean? Because we can dismiss it, obviously, offhand, because it's a nonsense idea to think that, but it is possible. It could do that. It's possible. Is it likely? Probably not, but it's possible, right? It doesn't take much to start a subreddit. You can post in a subreddit on your phone. You don't need to have a laptop to start one. It's not that hard to do it. You can run, deep kind of psyops and undercover investigations and tarnish someone's name that way. Because I'm sure other people do. I'm sure people, set up troll accounts and, put together, incriminating clips of people that they don't like in the same industry that they work in, so that they can make them look bad. I'm sure it happens on a daily basis. Let's not pretend it doesn't happen. But to suggest that Bobby Lee was the reason behind it, and then as a thank you to him to go and then try and creep into his girl's DMs, is absolutely nutty behavior to the nth degree. But also, I don't know, if you're Joe, come on, man, you got 400 million in the bank. Are you really going to concern yourself with this crap? Like, honestly, like, everyone involved in this is a garbage human for the most part. No one's going to learn their lesson from this. It's all going to be, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to be said on this one. So I'm surprised he even commented on it in the first place. But I guess, it's just the noise is getting too loud for him not to kind of make any attention to it at all. I can definitely understand that. But yeah, what's the chat? What are you guys saying? Going forward, that Brendan will ever go on Tiger Belly? Of course not. Come on, Mrs. Singh. Imagine after all of this, they let Brendan on Tiger Belly. Come on. Like, they would have to be the most, I don't know. But you never know any of these people. They might try and make it seem as if, like, this is going to break the internet. It's like, look, this is embarrassing. Can you all grow up and take care of your pets or your children or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not what we need. And also, there's actual things happening in the real world. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to be concerned about whether or not you guys like to hook up with each other or not. We don't care. What else people are saying? He definitely does, Brendan. Wait, what? He definitely does. Brendan's on the phone to him as soon as it happened. Blah, blah, they're like funny on the Asians. What people are saying here. Cool. But yeah, nah, man, this is a new TFK. Okay, cool. Actually, yeah, let me check. Actually, what's happened? Has there been a new TFK episode since it dropped? All this stuff is so I can find out if there's been any update regarding this whole dumb situation. Oh yeah, and finally, before we continue, actually, Ethan posted this clip, this Twitter, but he obviously deleted it because he's not really about that smoke, really. But this is an insane thing to post, isn't it? Right? Like as a Twitter. From this year's account, right? This hacky meat-headed goon thinks he can ruin Bobby Lee's career. That's the only funny joke he's ever told. Fuck you, Brendan Schaub. So I'm assuming probably, because this is a bit hot and spicy, I'm assuming Bobby Lee probably told him to take that post down, but this is nutty in it to do that, right? He went out there straight up and just put it on him straight away. Which again is funny because none of these guys called out their own friends for this dumb shit that he did allegedly concerning those ladies raping and touching up underage girls. But in the moment someone in the crew creeps into someone's DMs of a married person or someone in a relationship, everyone freaks out and flipping battens the hatches and runs cover and deep operations for someone. And again, it's Brendan, man. It's not even anyone. I don't know. This is the thing, man, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, let's just roll. Let's just see. People are saying the audio is out, right? The new Chifake episode. Let me see if someone's got a clip of it, because man, ain't bad to listen to Brendan having to struggle through ad reads to get an idea of what's basically happening. Let's see what they said here. What they said. Someone should have a clip up here, please. What they said here. Come on, where is it? Let's see if I can find it. Actually, let me see if I can just get up on the thing. Do they speak about it in the beginning, or is that at the front? Let's just get up on here and the fighter and the kid. The fighter, is it? Fighter and the Kid podcast. Let's see if we can get up on here and react to this in real time. 1 week ago, where's the latest episode? Where is it here? Podbay. Okay, let's go on Apple. This is probably the easiest one to listen to. Let's see if this works. The latest show, 9th of May. Here we go. Let's see if they open up with it. If they don't, then I'm going to be pissed. But hopefully they open up with this stuff, because I don't want to hear some nonsense. Come on, bruv. There we go. Play. Let's see what they say here.
Hi, I'm Katie Stone.
Some of the top stories of the week with a help.
Yeah, we're good to go, Chin. Look at us. Just the boys.
Just the boys.
The original team's back together.
And this is a good way to start this, because I'm calling this podcast The Hammer of Truth. And I'm going to start this off by saying a couple of things.
Brian's serious.
Yeah, because I believe when the chaos hits, you tell the truth. I've always been honest with everybody, all the fans and everybody who listens.
Did you rape that lady, yes or no? That's what I want to be honest about. Did you rape that lady, yes or no? I want to hear that. Did you rape that lady? Yes or no? Okay. Oh, it's going to keep starting it from the beginning. Oh man, it's going to be annoying. Let's get another one up, because this is going to start skipping. I want to just get a thing that just works without me having to flip in pause and shit. Maybe Podbay would be a better one. Let's see that one. Come on. Okay, here we go. We're doing this live in real time. See how my computer's not glitching like beforehand, guys? Are you guys going to give me a pat on the back? Are you guys going to tell me that I did a good job because I've managed to get a computer that doesn't glitch when I try and stream? Look, guys, I can search for things and stuff. Look how crazy that is. Come on, you're on load, brother. Cool, there we go. It's coming up. Boom. Come on, pod, baby.
Much stuff. Many stuff. Some of the top stuff. So if you already...
Yeah, we're good to go, Chin. Look at us. Just the boys.
Just the boys.
The original team's back together.
And this is a good way to start this, because I'm calling this podcast The Hammer of Truth. And I'm going to start this off by saying a couple of things.
Brian's serious.
Yeah, because I believe when the chaos hits, you tell the truth. I've always been honest with everybody, all the fans and everybody who listens. Bobby Lee is somebody I love very much.
We both do.
Yes, but people have been talking on. He went online and he went on and talked about somebody who spoke to him in a very rough, bullying manner. Okay, that wasn't anybody but me. I'm the guy. I'm the one who did it. Not Chris, not Theo, not Sam. It was me.
Yeah.
Okay, and now.
How disgusting. How disgusting. You'd think this man has enough things to worry about. Again, this is a thing. I actually like Brian, bruv. I think he's absolutely, legitimately might be one of the funniest stand-ups within that crew, you know, within the JRE extended universe. He might be one of the funniest ones. Legitimately funny, like on a show, on a panel. Like, he's legitimately a funny human. You can imagine bumping into him in a bar and absolutely dying, you know, crying with laughter with how funny he would make it, you know, and somebody you kind of want to keep in contact with or whatever it may be. And he has these crazy allegations against him, right? The way it transpired also was absolutely comedic, to say the least. The fact that he threw flipping Leah under the bus when he got accused of diddling kids, only a couple of weeks later, or however many days it was later, to then get it exposed that he maybe allegedly had raped somebody, sexual harassment and stuff with store assistants, propositioning people, like crazy stuff came out. Probably worse, you didn't imagine, than being alleged of being somebody that's maybe keen to hit on girls that just turned 18, whatever it may be. It's still awful. It's like kind of trying to judge between the two worst things. But god damn it, man. Oh yeah. But let's just hear him play. I just can't understand that person being a person that's trying to tell you to flipping, you know, to get your girl in line and to threaten you with Joe Rogan. Like, oh, awful people.
Now, here's the second thing I want to say. Bobby is 100% right in his anger at me, in how he felt, and I'm 100% wrong. I take full fucking responsibility for the way I spoke to him, which was wrong. There's no excuse, okay? And now I will give you. Now, having said that, let me say it again. And this is what I said to Bobby. Bobby, if
when did you talk
I
to him?
spoke to Bobby. I tried to speak to him after you spoke to Khalyla. When I spoke to Bobby, I said to him on the phone, "I believe you." And then I thought, I don't know Khalyla. I thought that she was. And let me just say this. And I'm gonna explain this, but I want to first own up to everything that I did, because what I did at the end of the day, the way I spoke to Bobby, who is somebody I love, who didn't deserve the way nobody deserves to be just attacked. And I'm going to tell you where I was wrong, and I'm going to get specific. But let me start once again by saying, I'm the guy, okay? I take full responsibility. I was wrong. I said this to Bobby. I called him up, and Bobby read me the riot act. I think if he had been in front of me, he would have fucking punched me. And he's justified. And I said, Bobby, you're absolutely right. I apologize. I was wrong. And where I was wrong was this. I didn't give Bobby the benefit of the doubt. I didn't ask him first. I didn't really give him the respect to say, hey, dude, is what I'm seeing true? So let me get into that. This had nothing to do with you and the Khalyla thing. Nothing. This had. I don't get involved in that. I wasn't there. I don't get involved with any of that.
It just happened a lot.
There was something else. So I want to make a
hold on real quick with the timeline with the Khalyla stuff, and then what you're going to refer to. You're looking about 3 to 5 weeks.
Yes.
Difference.
I did not know.
Coincidence.
I did not know. You never talk about it, and we're very close. But think about this. I didn't know that for 6 years you've been getting crazy, not just hate. There is a difference, guys.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Are you for real? They're going to try to explain away. Nah, no way. Am I about to hear what I'm about to hear? They're going to start scolding people online who are trolling him because he's a bullshit human being, and not try to try to apologize for the horrible thing that he did to somebody he regards as a friend. All right, let's just go.
Between hate, between making fun of somebody, and threats. Threats and harassment, long-term harassment and physical threats against somebody's family, interference in someone's business and trying to destroy someone's business. There is a very big difference between real physical and cyber threats and actual harassment.
I'm sorry I'm pausing it for so much. No way. Are they trying to play victim? Are they trying to play victim, guys? No way. No way. So what they're trying to say Brendan slid into Khalyla's DMs and told Annie to go for a trug walk because he was getting trolled. Because people said they don't think he's funny. Because people think he's undeserving of his success because he's only friends with Joe Rogan. That's why he did these things. No way. Brian stepped in. So Brian stepped in there to defend his boy because what? He was getting trolled online and he should be allowed to slide into anyone's DMs he wants to. It's a free world. It's a free country. Okay. Calm, Agostino, calm. No, this is insulting my intelligence. This is insulting my ability to deduce stuff in real time. This is like, what kind of apology is this? Like, what world do you live in where this is an apology? Okay, let's just give them a chance to speak because I'm doing too much here.
Long-term harassment and just hate and people making videos. That's all good.
Yeah,
that's all good, dude.
No, that's the internet.
That's the internet.
But what I deal with,
I didn't know that. I don't
talk about it with anybody.
So what happens, guys, is when you have a legal matter, when it becomes actually physically dangerous, or at least that would be when I look at it, the amount of shit you take is actually dangerous.
Correct.
It's dangerous.
Correct.
There are people that are not, this is not satire. This is not hate. This is not a hater. This is not somebody being, funny, and it's out there. There's some funny hate out there. I look at it. But we're talking about actual illegal activity.
Correct.
So what you do in that situation after 6 years, when it gets crazy and scary, is you hire professional legal counsel and professionals to deal with this.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So obviously I don't talk about the negative stuff. You know me better than
anyone.
I would say anyone.
Your brother knows you better.
Maybe. You're up there.
Maybe.
But I always look at life as the glass half full. Always. It's just my nature, and I know that stuff is out there, and I've always been privy to ignore it. Obviously, especially the way I look and having the careers that I've had, it's going to trigger people, and I get all that. I 100% get all that, and I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. But then, it gets to a certain point, and when they step over the boundaries of criticism.
Well, when it gets to your physical safety,
correct,
and your family's physical safety,
and that for sure. But then also going after my businesses, companies I'm associated with.
Yes.
Then you're talking about illegal activity. But then even with all that, I've never brought it up to you guys ever, man.
Look,
ever.
I've never heard about it. I didn't hear about it until it got so crazy that you had to talk about it.
But it got so crazy, and the way it works is. One of the reasons I'm at where I'm at, whether you think I'm successful or not, that's up for debate, is I surround myself with much smarter people. You, Mark, Kat, Jen, everybody in here is smarter than me. I'll give you that. That's fine. People outside of this that work and have this engine going, my career going, are much smarter than me, whether my business manager, my agents, my managers. I constantly surround myself with smarter people. I don't deal with any of that stuff. Being a stand-up comic, and you know this better than anybody, is so tough. It's so tough.
Never ends.
So my energy goes to that and my kids. That's it, man.
Yes.
For me to get notified that some illegal activity is going on and that I should do something about it, it has to be so bad. To the point so bad that this account got alerted
So let me
hold on.
Let me finish this because it's very important.
But let me say this too. I know I'm 6'4", 250 pounds, 255. I know I'm 255 pounds. I know I look like this stuff doesn't bother me. It hurts my feelings, man. It always has.
To say the least.
It always has.
To say the least.
I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants me to come on here and talk about, how my feelings are hurt, because that's not the masculine thing to do. But I'm telling you now, so all you guys know, it hurts my feelings more than you know. And that's why I'm not on social media. I didn't leave social media because you don't think I want to see my friends and family and other comics and peers post stuff and stuff like that. No, I love that stuff. I left because it was
with all due respect, we don't give a fuck. No one gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck with all due respect. How are they not able to just apologize, say they're sorry profusely, declare they're going to try and do better, and then just move on? What is this conversation? Now he's telling us about how even though he's a big guy and he weighs a lot and he's tall and he can fight, it hurts him. And we know it hurts you. You basically turned into an alcoholic overnight because of the stuff people say online. It's a nonsense. You used to brag about not drinking, and all of a sudden he's drinking whiskey at 7 in the morning when he's doing a flipping podcast. We know it hurts you. Clearly it does. It would hurt most people if you've got 60,000 people on the internet telling you that you're crap at your job consistently every single time. Of course, with some of it being truthful what they're saying, of course it's going to hurt you. But come on. This isn't about you, brother. The whole point why this started was because you flipping tried to slide into the DMs of a colleague, someone that you work with, a peer who was in a relationship, especially, when it comes to Khalyla, and he clearly wasn't interested. Cool, that happens. You swung and a miss. She kind of got annoyed about it because it made her feel like she was, a cheap slag or a cheap lay or something. Just apologize, brother. It happens. We all try and swing and a miss. Sometimes you slide in someone's DMs and they're not interested. It happens all the time. Cool, whatever. Apologize and move on. What is this nonsense, bruh?
so toxic. It was so evil that I don't want to subscribe to anymore. And a lot of people can handle social media. God bless you, man. I wish I could. I'm too sensitive.
So hold that thought.
I know because I look like this, you guys think it's okay and doesn't bother me.
Yes.
It really hurts my feelings.
This is what happened. So when I saw the evidence, people who are professionals that this said there is long-term harassment and essentially, more than just hate coming from X, Y, Z. When I didn't make this stuff up. When I saw with my own eyes that some of that long-term X harassment was coming from the Tiger Belly hub, okay? And that's what I saw with my own eyes. When I saw that, I went into protection mode. I'm a very protective person. That's my brother. I might be too protective, and we're going to get into that too. I've been too protective probably. It's not my place to be protective.
It's not my place to say this, and it's going to come across rude because I love the guy. What about protecting your family, brother? When you got accused of what you got accused of, did you protect them? What about protecting your friends when they got accused of what they got accused of and you most likely was in the vicinity when that stuff happened? What about that? What is this nonsense that they're talking about? Like, what is this? I don't know if they're insulting our intelligence or if this is legitimately how they feel. So what, he got presented with evidence about the Tiger Belly sub being responsible for the Fire and the Kids subreddit, or Bobby being responsible for it, didn't question the information he was given and immediately called and flew off the handle and ripped into Bobby Lee, who he's known longer than Brendan. Are you having me on? Are you having me on? I don't know, man. This is legitimately this is probably worse than what it's ever been before. This is worse. They should have just probably left it and ignored it. This would have been better. This is even doubling down. What is this? What someone said? Based. What someone say? Based here? A narcissist never apologizes to. Always. It's true, yeah. Based, dude. You're right. This is narcissism to the 10th degree. And then, have you noticed Brendan keeps mentioning stuff like, "I know you guys think I'm a big tough guy and it doesn't hurt me, but it does hurt my feelings." A little humble brag there, big tough guy, reminding you of my power, my strength, my mass. Fuck off, absolute cunts, the lot of them.
But I am. I'm a ride or die fucker. Now, so what I did was I went into protection mode. I saw red and I assumed the worst about Bobby and about Khalyla. After speaking to Bobby, I realized, I really believe that he has nothing to do with it. I don't think he even knows anything about it. I believe him. And I said that on the phone.
You just said on the phone.
I said, I believe you, Bobby.
And what I tell you, B, when I spoke,
and then
within
you
the
talk,
first
hold on, let me
5
do it.
minutes.
Let me handle it.
Go ahead.
Then you spoke to Khalyla, and you called me right away, and you said, dude, I believe her. I don't think Khalyla or Bobby have anything to do with this. So then what I did was I called Bobby. This is I don't know, a week ago, more than that, or 10 days ago. I called Bobby, he didn't answer. I called him the next day, he didn't answer, and I got it. I was like, he must be so pissed off at me. He must have been so pissed off because once again, let me say this. The way I spoke to Bobby is unacceptable. The way I spoke to Bobby, and he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, I've been bullied by guys like you my whole life, and it stops now. I'm not a bully, but if he said that, he was fucking right. He was.
You are a bully, bruv. Didn't you try to silence the flipping husband of your rape accuser because they were calling comedy clubs and trying to get your shows cancelled? That should be the least of your worries. You'd imagine if some people were in that situation, they'd be tracking you down. Again, no doxing, no threats of violence and stuff. They'd be doing far worse things than just calling up a club and telling them, hey, should you really be booking this person? I'm not a bully. Guess what?
Right. I own it. I was outside myself, and when you fuck up and I fucked up like that, I'm going to take ownership. Okay? It doesn't matter how angry I was. It doesn't matter that I was protecting him. It's like when I was thinking about this. Sometimes you don't get a pass. It's like a guy who beats his wife, and then you beat your wife, and the guy goes, I know, dude, but she makes me so angry. Not an excuse.
That's not right.
Not a fucking excuse.
But
so I got
to be fair
that.
to yourself, I appreciate you owning it. I'm sure they appreciate it. But you've always defended me, and I've also always defended you.
Yes,
it's what we do.
It's
man.
what I do, dude. I go to the mat. We've been in situations, even physical situations, where there were a bunch of very dangerous people, and I was like, and
you were down.
I was down.
I wasn't down.
I know
you were.
They were real guys who you were afraid were going to fight you or come at you, and I said, hey, dude. I'm knee to knee with you, motherfucker. Yeah. I'm not a tough guy, but I'm not leaving your side.
And I reciprocated that when you went through your shit.
So that's how it is.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Yes. Okay. Doesn't mean I handled it right. I didn't. Once again, I'm gonna say this to what I said to Bobby. Bobby, you are 100% right. I was 100% wrong. Okay.
Well put, B. But I also think it's fair to say.
So I don't
think we handled any of this right.
No. I was too upset. I was so upset. I was so. And I said to him, I said, call me, buddy. Wanted to apologize. I said that April 29th, or 25th. Yeah, 28th. I'm old. I can't read. April 25th, 28th, I said, or 5th, I said, at 2:51, I said, call me, buddy. Wanted to apologize. Okay. And then I really am sorry. I said, then after that, I said, after we spoke, I said in my text, I really am sorry, Bobby. You're justified and I was wrong. No excuses. I love you and I wish you well. I'll also make it up to you one day if I can. You'll see. That's what I said. Those are my texts to Bobby.
You guys go back how many years?
I love him.
From Matt TV?
I love him.
How long?
I love him. And he didn't deserve it. And I have to live with that. I was being protective over you and I saw red because I had been steeped and I had seen how horrible this stuff was. I'd seen the threats. I'd seen the physical, dangerous, the difference between hate and true harassment and violence. And I guess I went a little crazy.
But to be fair, again, I'm not condoning and obviously we both apologize the way you spoke to Bobby, but I think if anybody saw that kind of abuse and the negativity and then for their team, I'm not saying Bobby and Khalyla, for them to be associated with it, I was so hurt. You don't understand.
I know that,
because
so was I.
Because I understand.
And I was so relieved when I believed
when you
him.
believed it,
and
yeah.
you know, Bobby and I spoke. I apologized, and he accepted my apology. But he also said, "I don't want to talk to you, dude." And
That's
I
fair.
deserve it.
That's fair.
I hope someday I fucking hope someday I might see him at something. I hope when I see him, maybe I can hug him and hold him until he forgives me, or maybe I can make it up to him. I was like, you know, maybe Bobby, maybe you could tattoo something on me, and that way we can be friends. Whatever I got to do.
This whole thing has gotten out of control though, because there's love between
I love him.
us, Bobby, and
he doesn't
Khalyla.
love me, and he doesn't, and I get it. I fucking hurt him. And
I just think it was mishandled all the way around. It's gotten to the point where we have to address it, which, you know me, I don't like addressing this stuff. The world to me is too positive.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to tell the truth. And when I fuck up, I own it. When I fuck up, you know, I don't have any problem telling the truth, and I don't have any problem, you know, owning up to and facing up to when I am outside myself.
No, and I appreciate that, B. But I also think, you know, and I'm going on Tiger Belly to address it too. It's like, and I think Bobby and Khalyla will also own up. And Khalyla said this because, you know, their emails associated with this, and there's other stuff associated with
well,
this
it's an
account.
ongoing investigation.
It's ongoing investigation.
And I will say this, guys. I will say this too. And this is what I heard from what I can only accept as a reliable source. I'm not a tech guy. I don't do this stuff.
No,
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
But what I heard reliably from what I believe is a reliable source is since we have confronted them, and I'm not saying that Bobby or Khalyla know anything about this,
I don't think
or
they
have
do.
anything. I truly believe they don't have anything to do with it. But
Somebody on their team does.
well, the harassment, the posts stopped
from that account,
and that account got changed, and that's going to be brought up on Tiger Belly.
Yep.
Okay, and we're just being honest. This drama, I'm way too old to deal with it, but I fucked up, and so once again, here's what I have to say. I'm the guy. Direct your hate at me. I take full responsibility. Bobby, I love you. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. You didn't deserve that. I should have given you the benefit of the doubt. I should have spoken to you first. How the fuck did I think a guy as sweet as you, as special as you, as giving as you, as funny as you, would ever do something like that? How would I think that? I got fucking deranged. I was listening, and I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't
which is
stop and think.
unlike you.
It's unlike me.
But also you.
But I was so traumatized about Brendan. I was so fucking traumatized
because I've never told you about it.
But then I saw it. I got scared.
It's awful.
I got scared, dude. And when I get scared, I fight.
I know you do.
You know, I don't fucking back down. I'm gonna fight.
But here's the way.
But you got to be careful about how you fight.
Agree. But here's the way this thing ends: is there's obviously love between us and Tiger Belly, and I'm going to go in there and say my truth, and they're going to say how we hurt them, and that's fine, and hopefully we can squash all of it. And even Khalyla goes, all right, well, if we find out who it is, what do you want us to do? And this goes for anybody out there. I told Khalyla and Bobby, I just want to stop. I want nothing else. There's no legal action. There's no threats. There's no.
I never would have.
I just want to stop.
I will have to say this too. I have to say this. I in the midst of my anger and my hurt and the way I was speaking, and I know Bobby feels differently because of the way I spoke, I would never, ever do anything to him, ever in a million fucking years. Never. Not physically and not career-wise or anything.
Neither
Never.
one, no.
But it doesn't matter, man, because I got to own what the fuck I did and how roughly I spoke. Don't remember all the details, but I was mad and I was upset and I was protecting my friend.
Yep.
This is a teaching moment for anybody younger. Listen, take a minute when you're really upset, when you feel like you're justified, when you feel like you're being attacked. Take a fucking minute. Think. I'm way too old to have behaved the way I did.
I'd say take longer than a minute.
Take longer than a minute.
I think
and give your friends the benefit of the doubt, especially someone as wonderful as Bobby.
Yeah, sweet as Bobby.
And I hope someday I can mend that friendship, but I don't deserve it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it to Bobby today, and just hopefully I can be the guy that connects you guys and get you guys back together.
Yeah.
But I also think too is.
Excuse me? Did we hear that right? Brendan is going to be the UN. He's going to try and mend the chasm that exists now between Brian Kelly and flipping Bobby Lee. Did I hear that correctly? Brendan is going to come out being the hero? This is why in the beginning of the show I said I'm fed up with this. I'm done, man. I can't do this anymore. These people are so garbage, so toxic that it legitimately bums me out. that these humans exist and they have kids and they have families and people that depend on them and successful careers and shit. And they're genuinely horrible people. Horrible people. This whole thing started because one person was a creep to other people, right? To a female side of things. Just apologize for that and keep it moving. What is all of this nonsense? This isn't even doubling down. This is like moving of the goalposts in like a mad way. I've never seen this in my entire life. They've completely missed a point. And what is this investigation? What did they find out? That there's a subreddit that exists that takes the piss out of Brendan every single day. Okay, welcome to the internet. Welcome to 2015 or whenever that thing started. They think this one account that comes from what they're now alleging or suggesting the idea that there's somebody that works for Tiger Belly, an intern, a producer, some whoever's associated with that team who uses their Wi-Fi to log on to the Fire and the Kid and leave hurtful comments on the page. What, alongside 60,000+ other people? So you're gonna shut that one account down that's linked to Tiger Belly. How about the rest of them? You're gonna go after everybody else. You're gonna go after Mick Spitfire and them, man. Is that what you're gonna do? Good luck. Do these guys not know how the internet works? And I want to see these. What are these threats that made Brian so angry that he was willing to legitimately throw away his entire friendships and, threaten violence to somebody he's known for many years, more so than he was willing to stand up for his wife and all that sort of stuff. But hey, we don't want to speak about that because none of our business. But he was going to go to the nth degree to support his guy Brendan, Big Brown. What is this evidence that they found? Someone tell me what the evidence was. What was it? What was it? Was it standard stuff that people say to you all the time? Bomb threats, I'm gonna see you here, I'm gonna jump you there. Like, so what? It's internet shit. Who cares? Do you guys honestly think they hired a PI to get to the bottom of this? That is so lame. This is expert deflection, though. We have to give Brendan and Brian a lot of credit here. The deflection that they've done in this entire affair to make themselves out to be the victim. Brendan allegedly says to Annie, walk me to my truck so you can give me the Gluck Gluck 4000. She remembers it midway through a podcast talking about, how guys assume certain things. Brings it up in a funny, angry, frustrated, kind of fuck you kind of way. It's a story. She's allowed to share it. It happened to her. Just ignore it and keep it moving. Khalyla jumps on the back of it and says, hey, that same person also slid into my DMs knowing full well that he has a wife and I have Bobby Lee. You could also ignore that. It's their story to share too because you got them involved. Or if you're a decent person, a man with actual morals and integrity and principles, and maybe you let your whiskey haze get the better of you, you say, you know what? I stepped out of line there. Let me contact both individuals, if I can, in my own way, and say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did there. And maybe if I'm even a really, really amazing person, I want to make some changes, I go out there and say in public so I can make myself accountable to people and say, you know what? I messed up here. I heard what people have been saying there. I didn't really want to do that. So, hey, let's move on. Or, allow me the space to try and be a better person. I make a lot of mistakes. I didn't want this to be something I remembered about. Whatever, you do something along those kind of lines. That's what a normal person does. And especially off the back of this. Bobby Lee goes on a podcast, H3, and bears his soul, unwillingly. He didn't want to do it in the first place, but he reluctantly does it. Not unwillingly. He reluctantly bears his soul. He's really offended. He's hurt by it. He feels like he's being bullied. I'm sorry, Bobby Lee. I made a big mistake. My bad. I really fucked up. I feel horrible about this. I didn't want to put you in this situation, and it's all my fault. I'm sorry, Khalyla, for what I said and did to you. I'm sorry to my... Like, nothing. He hasn't even apologized to... Again, maybe it's not our business to know this, but has the Mexican got an apology this whole time? Have we seen him make a public apology to the Mexican? Because he, essentially publicly embarrassed her in some way, shape, or form. Has he apologized to his family online? No. We just saw a video of him crying for people thanking him for his comedy special. That's what we saw. Sobbing on the camera because of the comedy special. We see him sobbing on the camera when Khalyla gets accused of diddling kids. But then when that video came out, the Mexican flippings allegedly, there's a video coming out when he's recapping the Mexican's grandma died. That was no emotions. She miscarriages. He goes on tour. I can't believe I was fans of these guys, man. There was a time where I legitimately was fans of these guys. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe I was fans of these guys. Wow.
Through all this, I think, I've obviously made mistakes too, the way I handled it with Khalyla. It's really not Bobby. It's more me and a Khalyla thing. And what I learned, I don't know her that well, but even though I don't know her, is I should went directly to her.
Yes.
Instead of going anywhere else.
This wasn't you saying getting your bitch in line, though. This was not. That was how it was characterized. This had nothing to do with. For me, it had nothing to do with Khalyla. It had nothing to do with. This had to do with seeing that long-term harassment. According to these sources, said it's coming. One of the main sources is coming from there, and I went, "What?"
But I want our fans to realize how toxic that group is.
Well, they know.
They're radicalized.
Hey guys, if you have any doubts, go look at it.
Yeah, they're radicalized, but then also
go look at it.
The reason that account got flagged in the first place, for it to get to me, a guy who ignores it, because it hurts my feelings, not because I'm better than social media or Reddit groups. The reason it got notified is because there's a video of this man beating his son who is 6 years old with autism. That's when it crossed. That's what you're dealing with.
That's when you realize who some of these people are. Some, not all, some.
A majority of them. And then the main 5 to 6 counts that are doing a lot of this harassment, over the top criminal activity, they look in their background. It's an ongoing investigation. There's pedophiles. There's horrible stuff in there, man.
Right. So this is
not something you want to
be very general about that.
What are these people talking about? What are these people talking about? What are these people talking about? What are these people honestly talking about? Can someone explain what they're talking about? So what are they trying to spin it that somehow the Fighting the Kids subreddit is harboring pedophiles and child abusers in the hope that they can use that as a justification to get the subs shut down? Is that what they're trying to do? They're trying to paint that all the people that post clips of Brendan fucking up ad reads, of not remembering the fight cards, of looking like he's not interested when he's talking about fights, where he asks people questions in interviews and doesn't let them answer, where he's ragdolling topics in his own podcast, where he's giving stories about himself that clearly lies, where he's talking about his tour and how funny he is and what shows he's selling out and not selling tickets. All these things that people are uploading on a constant basis, they're going to find the odd freak in a group of 60,000 people and use that as justification to get the entire sub shut down. You got to give it respect. You got to respect it. You got to respect the game. What a superb way to deflect and to refuse to accept any responsibility for the toxicity that you create. Brilliant. Bravo. Bravo. Holy smokes. Now I know why. I remember back in the day, a few months ago, somebody on the Fighting the Kids subreddit was saying something like, they heard through the grapevine that there's an investigation into the sub happening and they're going to be trying to take it down. I think that's why people stopped saying the actual term redacted, which would, what was actually you meant to say. I mean, the R word. They stopped saying that sort of slur on there because there were threats or there were suggestions that they were going to take that sub down. It was going to get deleted, or it was going to get, archived or something, whatever, quarantined, whatever they do with those kind of subs. Now we know why, because this is what these guys were doing. God almighty, geniuses of avoiding responsibility, man. If you thought women didn't like accountability, stand-up comedians on another level. People say mean words online. They hire PIs and cybersecurity firms to dig into subreddits. But then if they dare to say a joke about trans people, about LGBTQ plus people with disabilities or whatnot, or something along those kind of lines, or they make some disparaging comment about rape or whatever, It's just a joke, man. Don't be talking so serious, man. Free speech, man. But the moment people online poke fun at them, call them names, just words online again. Online, just words online. They don't hold any weight unless you put weight or power into them. They all start quivering. What an amazing group of people they are. Truly some of the best that humanity has to offer. Don't you think? The best of the bunch. What more could you want out of life than a group full of comedians who feel entitled to police and to limit people's speech, how they're reacting on the internet with the stuff that they're saying? What else do you need in life but a group of, self-aggrandizing comedians who feel as if they walk on fucking water because they get on stage and tell some shit jokes in comedy clubs across the United States, or some of them who have the weird idea that somehow because they tell jokes on stage that it makes them part of, I don't know, it makes them just like everybody else, every other regular person out there. No, it doesn't really, mate. You're still part of the privileged few. You're still in the 5, 10, 1% of your flipping tax earning or earning potential bracket, you absolute numbnut. Honestly, these people think because they perform in comedy clubs that it makes them just like the everyday man. The everyday man doesn't have the ability that you do to silence people. Like, God almighty, man. Fuck me. Frank Lampard gets accused of being somebody who only scored loads of deflected goals. But I think these guys are the masters of deflection. They are the masters of it. They just shoot at a flipping, into defenders in front of a goal and just hope it pings into the top corner and wrong foots the goalkeeper. That's what they're doing, mate. They're not even trying to slot it in the corners. They're just trying to hit a crowd, hit a leg, hit a limb, hit a shoulder, hit a head, and then it goes in.
Because I don't.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I just want you to realize that this goes you want to criticize my comedy, my stand-up, my fight picks, the way you and I engage.
Yeah.
Have at it, man.
Sure.
But
there is stuff to criticize there. We're going to make this podcast better.
That's the world we live in.
I've been too protective of this guy. He does interrupt. He does fucking, talk down sometimes. He does behave in an arrogant way, which is the defense mechanism for him. It just is. But we're going to get back to shit, man. We're going to, I said to him, we got to get back to getting you and I having conversations that go beyond ourselves.
Correct.
Fucking picking up on fucking rhythms.
And what a good time to do it, B. What a good time to do it because, Chappelle went off on his own. He's building his podcast and he's headlining his own shows. Yeah. And so now it's just us, Bubba. Yeah.
Sorry to touch it again. I love how Brian elaborated and stopped and said, no, you are sometimes a terrible person. I can get why people don't like you, basically in a roundabout way. But Brendan's like, that's the internet. He didn't even want to claim it, but that's just a good insight into his inability to see anything wrong in the way that he's maybe presented himself online. Can we say for one way or some, let's be honest and say, is the Firing the Kids subreddit toxic? Of course it is. Like most communities on Reddit, when it comes to fan communities, there's going to be a toxic element to it. It just is what it is. But I always said most of the subreddits that are the most toxic are mostly toxic because of the guest, because of the person who starts the show. I think of a good example being H3H3 subreddit at a time was toxic. There was a time when the Bon Appetit crew, that whole, kitchen thing was toxic because of what they were going through. And another good example was Call Her Daddy podcast. That subreddit was extremely toxic when those girls were breaking up and going through their drama and, the constant sort of like trolling and, clickbait and stuff that the host does now at the moment is mostly born from the host. That's where it comes from. So the fact that he's not taking any accountability of why maybe he has contributed to this is absolutely wild. He can't get it through his head why people don't like him. Like Brendan doesn't understand it at all, doesn't get it. I don't interrupt too much. That's just the way I am. I'm cool. I'm brilliant. I'm amazing. Like, he doesn't even think his fight picks are bad. It's just all good. He's beyond help, innit?
Back to the original crew.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for it. You see the new thumbnail. We have new intro coming. So there couldn't be better timing. Dude, can I get better as a podcast, even though I've been doing this 10 years and I have my 10,000 hours? 100%. Do I make mistakes? Are you kidding me?
You can get better.
I make all the mistakes.
And stand up. But he said to me
everything.
with the special, he called me and he goes, I just all I wanted to do was just show myself and the people close to me that I've gotten better, that I've been working at this. It's so fucking hard. stand-up is
It's
hard.
the hardest job in the
It's
world.
so hard.
And you know, it's A, the hardest job in the world, but B, to do a special and do it on your own and rely on your team, then we have to deal with all the marketing and all that stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize what an animal it is.
Look, man,
it was such a beast.
It's all one continuous mistake, and so is life. You know, I made a mistake. I will pay for that, and I will do everything I can to make it up to somebody I love named Bobby Lee. And I've only met Khalyla once, but she didn't deserve that shit either. So she seems like a great person. From what I could tell, she seems like a very fair, good person.
Bro,
So,
and I'm going to tell this to her in her face. I told her this on the phone. Dude, you want to talk about a smart, educated, like I told her, like we got done, but we said some things we both probably didn't mean. Then we finally got through that and really had some growth. And I told her, I went, man, I know you do this podcasting thing, you're crushing it. If you ever wanted to be a lawyer, you would crush it. I'm savage.
Yeah.
Savage.
Yeah, and so
in a good way.
Yeah,
Savage in a good way.
And I hope I can get some. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I own it and I take responsibility.
This other thing, and let's move on after this, and hopefully I can go on Tiger Belly and we squash all this. Because what I don't like to do is the clickbaity drama. I don't like that. It doesn't make me feel. That's not what I want to do.
Well, especially
I'd rather have
people that
I'd rather have 50 views than a million and deal with this negativity all the time. It's not what I do.
Why does he feel like he's owed a platform to go and speak to someone? Like, they shouldn't let him on the show, man. These guys are talking absolute shit. Why does he feel like he's owed an opportunity to go on there and talk to them on their platform when he can't even just say sorry? We do the hardest job in the world. So what? Is that why you sit into her DMs? He's my friend. I got love for him. Is that why you barked on the phone to somebody you've known for 20 plus years in the industry because you felt like he was offending one of your friends? What? Then he got on the phone and started what? Giving Khalyla compliments that she's a lawyer because what, she can argue. Because what? Yo, these people are redacted with a capital R, bruv. Maybe all caps the entire thing. This is insane. This is insane. These people are legitimately the worst humans I've ever seen in my entire life. Online. You know, not in real life, because I've met some dodgy people. I've got some bizarre uncles and aunties that, you know, will give these guys run for their money. But online, Am I mentally unstable, or is this pretty easy to resolve? You messed up in a really big way. They brought it to the public. Unfortunately for you, it's embarrassing. I get it. You deal with it directly by opening up and admitting your faults and saying you're sorry. Or you do it publicly and admit your faults and say you're sorry and say you're going to promise to do better. You draw a line underneath it and you move on. This doesn't mean you're going to have to do shows and you go on there and they come on a fire and a kid and you pretend you're all kumbaya. Nah, man, you already showed your ass. You already showed them what you're about. That you're willing to bully a fellow comedian because he dared to be because he didn't even do anything against Bobby Lee. It's not even him. Khalyla dared to speak about a situation that happened to her, which she has every right to speak about. It's embarrassing. It doesn't make you look good. But then you bully the guy for what reason? What did he have to do with it? I just can't get my head around this apology. 22 minutes of deflection and cap and misdirection and nonsense, bruv. This is absolute BS. The height of BS. Wow.
I don't want to do that. It's not what we do. It's not what I do.
Let me button this up. We're going to put this to bed right now. We got other stuff to cover. This is a big podcast. We got a lot of shit to cover.
It's Kat's last day.
Kat's last day. We love Kat.
It's my last day. I feel like I'm graduating.
I feel like everybody's jumping ship.
Yeah. No, it's Kat's last day. Then Christian got a new job, full-time gig.
Let me button
he
this
moved
up.
on.
Yep. Let me button this up. Let me say this one more time so there's no confusion. Bobby, I'm sorry. You were 100% right. I was 100% wrong. There are no excuses. There are no excuses with the way I spoke to you. You didn't deserve it. And I apologize unreservedly. I was an asshole. I was not the guy I want to be. And I deserve the criticism. So if you guys want to hate me, bring it. I deserve it and I agree. And that's all. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to do better always, and I'll always be fucking honest with you guys. I will always own up to my bullshit, and because I can't sleep otherwise. I don't live my life otherwise.
No, all this is so
and thank
toxic.
God Bobby accepted my apology, but he's fucking angry, and he deserves to.
It's gonna take time, brother. And then I'm gonna talk to him today and just
I
show him
hope
how
so.
much you love him.
Tell him I love
you know?
him.
Yeah, I know.
Who doesn't love him?
Yeah, no, he's the best, man. He's always been so nice to me.
Now
It goes
let's
such a long ways.
Now let's get into a podcast. Chin, I'd like to just.
Oh, quickly there. Big up Dax Trekker, Dax Terak for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. Big up. Says I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm trying to because this is abusing my ways of comprehension and my brain. It's just horrible. So Brian apologized profusely, way more than Brendan did, who is the sole reason why this whole thing started in the first place. Brian apologized in a really weird, profuse way, more so than Brendan did, who started this whole thing in the first place. Am I getting that right? He started off the apology. He's the one that ran into it. He ran into the topic, full steam. He tried to defend himself and explain why he did what he did. Came out terribly, but he tried. Then tried to end it by emphasizing that he fucked up. Still terrible apology. Maybe one of the worst. It will go down in the Hall of Fame as one of the worst apologies I've ever seen in my entire life. And Brendan just let it go. Just didn't say a thing. And acted like he was cool. He was the nice one. He was the one that was mediating. Mediating? It's your fault, mate. It's your fucking fault. Why are you mediating things that you caused? I don't understand this. I don't get what's going on here. This is insane. Is this similar to like beating somebody up close to an inch of their life, driving them to hospital, and then helping them through the police interview to try and find out what happened? Is this the same sort of thing? Yeah, I'm done, man. I'm done. And they didn't explain either what's happening with Uniques. So why are you suing Unix for? Is Unix one of the users on that subreddit? Is that why? Why is Unix getting subbed? Why is Unix getting sued? Because he dared to highlight a video where Brendan's allegedly passing a note to some woman that isn't his wife. The Mexican doesn't get an apology. Annie doesn't get a public apology. His friends don't get public apology for putting him in that situation. Khalyla doesn't get a public apology. Bobby Lee doesn't get a public apology on his platform, but he's gonna try and do it on theirs. Yo, I think I'm done, man. I can't do this anymore. This is legitimately hurting my brain cells and it's making me hate humanity, and I don't want to hate humanity. We've seen so many great displays of humanity over the last, few months or maybe years, and especially during the pandemic, especially now more so with the countless wars that are happening all across the world. Most recently with what's been going on in Ukraine and Russia, we've seen so many great displays of people legitimately putting some of their differences aside and seeing what they can do to help people from parts of the world that they probably have never even visited, right? Trying their best to help people, trying their best to support them in a moment of need, even if they don't have much. And then we got this. We got these guys. We got these awful guys. Awful people. And oh, no wonder Lex Friedman legitimately thinks he can, kind of get Zelensky and Putin to sit down in the same room. No wonder. No wonder. No wonder. What's PG said? You missed the entire point. They were talking about the Tiger Belly Reddit, not the homeless cats. Okay. Let's say that's true. Let's say they were talking about a Tiger Belly subreddit. So the Tiger Belly subreddit allegedly has people on there who are into some crazy stuff, right? Or look at some crazy stuff, whether it's kiddie stuff, whatever it may be, mad stuff, right? That's what's been happening over there. What does that have to do with them? And what happened with Brendan? What does that have to do with anything? So what? So there was somebody posting on that subreddit, also posting on the Foreign the Kid subreddit, who might be into weird subs, or has got some really dodgy digital footprint. What's that got to do with them? Does that mean you can't apologize? I'm confused. I don't know. I literally don't know. Maybe I'm just interpreting it wrong because I've listened to it real time. But at least, anyway, the good thing with this, at least we got to see what they're actually like, because these guys talk so much and they do a lot of posturing and they put on a front, whether it's wearing fancy trainers or driving expensive cars and posting videos of themselves in front of crowds with sold out things and whatnot. And it's all well and good, but mostly you would imagine posting all those weird self-flagellation things online is usually a way to kind of hide and protect things, right? To kind of make you seem one way when you're really the other way, usually you would imagine. But it's good to know also that behind the scenes, away from everything, they're actually garbage humans, like horrible human beings to each other, not even to us. Nothing to do. It's not even nothing to do with me. It doesn't affect me in the slightest. I'm not dating Khalyla. I'm not with Annie. I'm not friends with Bobby. I don't know any of these people personally. Don't care. I'm on the other side of the planet, or the other side of the ocean, right? Name the waters. But you know what I mean. And they're this horrible to each other. Imagine how horrible they'll be to us, or people who can't add them any value. That's what I'm saying, though. Imagine, right? They're horrible to each other. People they've known for years, people who can legit add value to their lives, could add a bit of clout to them, who can give them the opportunity to make some money and do whatever. Imagine how much horrible they could be, or worse they could be, to people who can't give them anything. Crazy, man. Honestly, one of the most craziest things I witnessed in real time. Callan called Bobby in a fit of rage, trying to protect Brendan, defending his honor, while he's stroking his dick while he's on the phone to flipping Bobby Lee. Is that what he's doing? He's got flipping Brendan's balls in his nuts as he's calling Bobby Lee's best friend and berating him for what? For being a part of a subreddit that might have some uncharacteristic people on there. Huh? So what? Have you been on the flipping internet? So is Bobby Lee Alex O'Hanahan, really? Is that his name? Alex O'Hanahan, however you pronounce his name, the founder of Reddit, who's now the husband of Serena Williams. Is that who actually is the founder of Reddit? Not the Alex guy. It's actually Bobby Lee. The Alex guy is just like posturing and pretending he is the founder of Reddit. But the real genius, we all know, is Bobby Lee. The guy who put a screen in between him and his guests during the height of COVID that still had room for virus to fly over it so protect himself from COVID. That's the guy. Yeah. Cool. Makes sense, man. Makes sense. Look, man, I'm done. I'm legitimately done. I can't do this anymore. This is hurting my brain. It's an insult to my intelligence. However little I have of it, I can deduce when people are talking out their ass. I can deduce when people are unwilling to accept any responsibility. The funny thing at the end there about the show, everyone running away and jumping ship. Chappelle jumping ship to do his own thing and do more backflips on stages, and Kat deciding to go probably incredibly full-time with OnlyFans and smash that. Shrimp, is that Shrimp? Is it Chris or whatever that person is? Shrimp, him deciding to jump ship also and do his own thing. Everyone's leaving. It seems like, and they'll only have each other to, interrupt and to berate and all that nonsense. It's just, what a weed doing here. Honestly, what are we doing here? Honestly, I just can't get by that apology. Explaining that they're tough guys, that they fight, that Brendan his bottom, that Kylan's a bottom for Brendan. Even Shrimp is leaving. Shrimp is leaving, mate. he can't see himself doing full time fetching flipping Brendan's whiskies and being insulted for his flipping his height. Anyway, I'm done, man. I'm done. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, actually, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning into the Random Show episode number 28. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. If you enjoyed the show and you liked what you heard, then make sure you smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you liked what you seen or heard and you have earned your return visit, then why not click subscribe? That'd be greatly appreciated too. I also have a podcast called the AgostinhoZinga Show, which should be having a new episode out by the time this finishes uploading properly. You'll be able to subscribe to my podcast. That's the AgostinhoZinga Show. You can find it where all people do podcasts. Actually get it up on your screen so I can show it off a bit. So definitely subscribe to my pod. That'll be greatly appreciated. It's this one. It's available everywhere you get podcasts, so jump on there. 573 is coming very soon. So if you're a fan of the show, please subscribe to that also. And apart from that, that's all I have to give to you today, man. Honestly, I tried my best with this stuff. I'm pretty much burned out. I don't think I can do any more of this sort of thing because it just bums me out and makes me lose hope in humanity and stuff. It honestly really, really does. But yeah, I just can't do this anymore, man. These people are just awful people. I just think if this is happening to Bobby Lee, imagine the people who aren't as famous as him. God damn. I can only imagine. But anyway, this has been the AgostinhoZinga Show, random episode number 28. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big up the chat. Thank you for hanging in there with me all the way through. I really appreciate everyone in there. Everyone who's, throwing questions and jokes and contributing to the whole shit show that is this weird LA podcast scene thing going on over there. Like, I can't believe we all started off as fans of these people, man. I don't know. It says a lot about somebody, isn't it, that you legitimately sit there and defend these people. And it really does. Like, it's one thing not caring. It's one thing sitting there and defending. It's like, what? Defending? Anyway, I need to stop. Thank you for tuning in. Random episode number 28. I have the show notes and timestamps hopefully done by the end of the day too. So hopefully you can check that out if you haven't already, so you can skip through it if you're watching this on a replay. But apart from that, hope you enjoyed it. Take care, guys. See you soon.